Mustafa Al-Jazari through the police body cams, Judge Carol Weimer under the microscope, the star witness Glenn Ford under the microscope. This is a heavy title. The more you listen to this podcast, you'll understand why it has a lengthy title. We're taking a deep dive into the discovery, into the body cams, into the exhibits. Lori, thank you for being here, ma'am. We're taking a deep dive into the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. Now, I want to remind everybody, this material, Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, Prosecutor Sarah Sammy, the police department, sealed off from the community. They're terrified that the community is going to look into the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. Mustafa Al-Jazari has been held in our county jail for the past 2 years, a little bit over 2 years. He's been in solitary confinement with no preliminary hearing, no trial. Now imagine, over 2 years, no preliminary hearing, no trial, and the county is terrified to put his evidence on the record. They're terrified. Now, unfortunately for the prosecutor, unfortunately for the Commonwealth Attorney, Amy Ashworth, unfortunately for this police department, Chief of Police Peter Newsham, and unfortunately for Judge Carol Weimer, who for the past 2 years has not been impartial. We have the discovery, we have the body cams that is under seal. One of their own, a police officer, is not okay with what goes on behind closed doors that supplied me with the material. Now I'm actively leaking it on the internet. I have a podcast, and we get to have a conversation. What is going on with the Mustafa Al-Jazari case? Why is Mustafa Al-Jazari held in a county jail in solitary confinement without a preliminary hearing? Why is his evidence not on the record? Why hasn't he had trial for 2 years? Now, Mustafa Al-Jazari got in a tragic vehicle accident where Mustafa lost his girlfriend, her 5-year-old baby, and was helicoptered to the hospital. He was in a coma. When he woke up out of a coma, they cleared him from the hospital. They ran his blood. No alcohol, no drugs. The police and the hospital released him. Now, we have evidence where an investigator falsified Mustafa's statements on a police report, falsified the warrant. We have proof. And they arrested Mustafa. Now, they falsified the warrant. They falsified Mustafa's statement. And at the time, Mustafa was charged with 2 counts of manslaughter. Well, today, Mustafa is no longer charged with 2 counts of manslaughter. Mustafa is charged with 2 counts of murder. How did we go from a vehicle accident to manslaughter to murder, where today we have the evidence that the whole entire thing is a vehicle accident? Now, they're terrified that we get to look at this evidence because we're finding out that the police report is falsified. The witnesses that are involved in this case is all hearsay. And the body cam show that this is a vehicle accident. The dash camera inside the vehicle show it's a vehicle accident. The prosecutor is terrified that she put this dash camera under seal so the community doesn't get to see a dash camera. Unfortunately for her, We have the dash camera. We're going to play it. This community is going to see the dash camera. And we're taking a deep dive into, for a prosecutor that screams Mustafa is guilty, why is she terrified that the community is going to see his dash camera? We're going to take a deep dive into the dash camera. We're going to take a deep dive into police body cams that on the police body cam, that mind you, are sealed off from the county, from the community. The investigators are saying this is a vehicle accident. The investigators are saying that Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. Now, we're going to step away from and take a deep dive into a segment that's revealing, that's going to tell us what's really happening in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. About a year ago, an individual reached out to us on our social media and said, I'm an advocate. I heard about your brother case, and I want to be there for your brother. What's happening to your brother is not okay. This is a vehicle accident, and the police department are falsifying your brother police reports, are taking advantage of a vehicle accident because he was involved in a lawsuit against the police. Mustafa was involved in a lawsuit against the police. It was over $500,000 lawsuit that started in 2018, and it dragged all the way to the vehicle accident. Mustafa was constantly being harassed by the police, and that's part of suing the police. At the time, Mustafa's lawyer told him that prepare yourself, you're going to get harassed for suing the police. And that's exactly what was happening. Mustafa would get harassed left and right. And fast forward to the vehicle accident, a tragic vehicle accident happened, and here we are where everything is falsified. Now, we have a phone call recording from this advocate that's revealing into the case what is going on with the case. And we're going to listen to that phone call recording. Now, it's interesting to listen to that phone call recording because in light of the police body cams that we have, that we're releasing on the internet, we find this advocate on a police body cam with the investigator lying about Mustafa. Now, how is that possible? How does that make any kind of sense? Well, let's take a deep dive into, we're going to listen to that phone call conversation between this advocate, who at the time claimed that her name was Christine Al-Quzai. And in this phone call conversation, you'll hear her reach out to a local reporter. His name is John Reed, and she's telling him about the injustice that Mustafa is enduring in this case. That the police department falsified the police report and are turning this tragic vehicle accident into something that it's not. Falsified police reports, and this is a vehicle accident. Now, you can easily find this individual. She's on social media, on TikTok, under Christine Warda. If you type Christine Warda 7 on TikTok, her profile comes up, and you'll hear her talk about the Mustafa Al-Jazari case every day. Now, this individual reached out to us a year ago and said, I'm an advocate. I want to be there for Mustafa. Now, in light of the body cams that are coming out, We find her on a police body cam with the investigator, and the police department is using her as the star witness. Now, we're going to listen to that body cam. We're going to listen to the phone call. And we're going to get to have a conversation about what the police department is doing to Mustafa Al Jazari and how they're fabricating and manufacturing probable cause. A whole entire case is built on individuals that were never there, that will tell investigators they were never there, but has a lot of negative things to say about Mustafa, and the police department run with it. You'll see this lady on a police body cam, and the police department is using these individuals to build a case and manufacture probable cause. We're going to take a deep dive so that way we can have a conversation. Let's listen to the phone call between Christine Alcazay and John Reed with Prince William Perspective, which is a local reporter. And through this phone call, through the police body cam, we're going to debunk what a lot of things that are happening in the Mustafa Al Jazari case. And we're going to find out what this police department is doing to Mustafa and how they've gotten away with holding Mustafa on manufactured probable cause for the past 2 years. And now they're terrified that these details are coming out. Let's listen to the phone call conversation.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Hello.
Hi, am I speaking with John?
Yes, this is Christine.
Yeah, how are you, John?
I am well. Thank you for reaching out to me. Yes, I spoke with Amari yesterday. So I was getting ready to reach you, call back. But thank you so much for calling.
So, Christine Alcazay, you can find her easily on TikTok under Christine Warda Subin. She's reaching out to John Reed with Prince William Perspective. And John Reed is telling her, I've spoken to Omar. My name is Omar. I'm Mustafa Al Jazari's older brother.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Casey, what happened? Huh?
Gary's in the chat on YouTube. He said to tell you.
Gary, thank you for being here, sir. I haven't talked to you in a while. It's always to have you part of the conversation.
I'm really glad to talk to you, and I'm really happy that you're listening to the story.
Thank you. Yes, so just over, as a matter of fact, over at Fortuna Court just a few moments ago. So I'm working on this story, putting it together, just gathering as many details as I can. I reached out to Commonwealth Attorney Amy Ashworth's office, waiting for a response from them, and to the Prince William County Police Department, just to get more information. But I remember.
So, mind you, what John Reed is talking about, he's telling Christine Alcazay, Christine Warda, that I reached out to the Commonwealth Attorney Office, and I'm waiting for Amy Ashworth to get back to me. I'm a reporter, and I'm waiting for her to get back to me on what is going on with the Mustafa Al Jazari case.
I believe in your message you said that you had more details on the story.
I think you might have spoken to the other Christina, because we figured that out this morning, that I think you might have talked to the ex-girlfriend.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
which is okay, because she has her side of the story too.
Yes.
But I just want you to really know, and I'm saying this wholeheartedly because I'm an advocate since 1991. I've been doing and helping people all over the United States with different types of cases. Like, I'm not a lawyer. I don't have a law background. But I could tell you I'm probably a lawyer without a certificate.
She's a lawyer without a certificate. Now, I'm a paralegal. I have my good friend in the group chat here is also Stefana, is also a paralegal. I've yet to hear someone tell me what is a lawyer without a certificate.
Because I've just had helped so many people over the years. I've learned a lot. You know, my own husband had a case here in Pennsylvania that I wrote the entire chronology for, and the lawyer never changed a thing. He said, "I don't know where you got this, this information, but you need to be a lawyer." He told me. So, and my hand extends to many different areas of advocacy because I help homeless people. But I came across the Al Jazari family, and I'm going to tell you, I have never in my life seen anything like what they're going through down there. I've never in my life encountered such corruption. And I even feel like they're going to tell you to be quiet. But I hope that you would never do that, because we need some type of journalists that are honest and getting stories out like this, because these things really exist. And yeah, and I think you know that, because I think you probably have written on some stuff. I did a little bit of research on you, and it seems like you really do speak for people that don't have a current voice.
Yeah, just to kind of give you my background, and thanks for sharing that, and your
Sure.
expertise in this. And I've had my fair share of running through some of the stories we've printed and see that perspective.
That's exactly what she told us. This individual, Christine Alcazai, reached out to us on social media, and she said, "I'm an advocate. Um, I heard about your brother. What your brother is going through is not okay. And I want to be there for your brother." And she told me that her husband was originally from Iraq. We're originally from Iraq. So automatically, I trust her. I went to my mom and I told her, Mom, there's a lady that says she wants to be there for Mustafa. Her husband's from Iraq. So automatically, we open up to her. Very quickly, we found out 3 months into that relationship, that lady is not there for Mustafa. She's gaslighting the conversation. Talking to me about individuals. I mean, imagine having a 3-hour conversation with someone about an individual that's going to be there for Mustafa, and then you find out that that person is a figment of her imagination. I kid you not. That's exactly what I was going through with that lady. She would have these lengthy conversations. She would call me 24/7. 5 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, 7 o'clock in the evening, 11 o'clock at night. God damn it, lady. I mean, yeah, I want to advocate for my brother, but you call me more than my girlfriend calls me. Now, really quickly, I found out that she's gaslighting me. We would be on these phone call conversation about individuals that I found out they're not even there. They don't exist. Just gaslighting the conversation. And when I wanted to get away from that lady, she would reach out to my mom. And she would tell her, your son is not helping Mustafa. I am here for Mustafa. But your son is not picking up my phone. And my mom, my poor mother, would come up to me. She's like, why aren't you picking up this really nice lady's phone call? She wants to help Mustafa. I'm like, mother, she calls me 24/7. She drags me into a 3-4 hour conversation, and the people don't even exist. She's gaslighting me, draining whatever energy I had for my brother. So really quickly, I sat down with my mom, and I was like, Mother, I love you, but this lady is not the advocate that she claims to be. So we 3 months into it, we distanced ourselves from her. Now, that relationship turned very sour very quickly, where she is now on social media and is telling everybody every day that Mustafa is guilty, and just gaslighting the whole entire conversation. Let's continue listening to this phone call where she goes into detail about how innocent Mustafa is. And then I invite you to go on her live on TikTok under Christina Warda 7. Listen to her and then come back on our podcast. And when you're there, ask her for receipts. Ask her for evidence to what she claimed that Mustafa is guilty. And then come back here and let me show you the evidence that Mustafa is innocent and that lady is lying. Now, this lady, in light of the body cams that now I have, is on a body cam with the investigator that falsified my brother police report and is saying a lot of hearsay. She's painting Mustafa as a monster. When in the body cam she says, I never met Mustafa, I don't know Dorothy, but yet she's painting him into a monster. We're going to listen to that body cam. And we're going to get to have a conversation about the manufactured probable cause that's being built, that the case is being built on. And the police department pretends that this is not manufactured probable cause. And then we'll go into the root of why the police department is using these, allowing these individuals, and is using these individuals to build a case and turn a tragic vehicle accident into something that it's not. Let's continue listening to the phone call. I think I'm giving you a lot. It's a lot to handle. But I ask you to bear with me. Let's slow down the conversation. We've been dealing with this for 2 years. Over 2 years. Now, it's a lot when you find out that the individual that you're dealing with is this. The personality behind this is that. Now, mind you, this lady will never turn on her camera, but TikTok is unique that even if you don't turn on your camera, if you have a picture, if you come close enough, your picture is going to pop up. And this, what we saw after 2 years. But she have you believe that this is what she looks like. I don't have to tell you that this is a cartoon, a heavily filtered cartoon. This is not what that lady looks like. It's a heavily filtered cartoon. I mean, I've heard about people filtering their face, but I've never heard of someone filtering a cartoon. It's already a cartoon. Why would you filter a cartoon? But this is what she looks like. You know, I'll tell you something that's really interesting. I was telling my friends and supporters, if you find me having a conversation with an elderly person, I love having conversation with elderly people. I go out of my way to take care of elderly people, or I just enjoy talking to elderly people. Now, this lady, I kid you not, when I'm out and about, now every time I see an old white lady, an old white fat lady, I have to do a double look. Are you Amy Lucille Hodgkins? Are you she ruined the whole elderly people for me. The whole image that I have in my head about I swear to God, she ruined it for me. I find myself, I have to do a double look. Are you Amy Lucille Hodgson? And I laugh at how disturbing. I mean, even when I hear myself talk about it, it's disturbing. But this lady ruined it. Now, on that note, let's continue listening to the phone call conversation.
My little brother who had his issues with Prince William County Police and Department, how he was treated at the detention center. So I'm very familiar with a lot of the machinations here within the area.
Okay.
People such as Casey Stevens and some of the other people who've been involved in the Alexandria case, and so. And so it's sad, whenever you hear these stories and they, for lack of a better term, pop up again. But this seems to be a little more widespread. This the web in which, after talking with Steve in Oregon, Rita and Amar and some of the other people, that a lot of this that I'm beginning to untangle to put this together. Just seems to be very interconnected with, and really trying to follow the money and say, okay, why are these defense lawyers and others are supporting these conflict attorneys and helping them, basically, keep Mustafa from getting the treatment and justice he deserves.
Right. And the fact that the whole case is corrupt. I read the discovery. I don't know if you've had a chance to do that. I've read the discovery. I've looked at the videos. I looked at the dash cam. I went over this case with a fine-tooth comb as just a person with.
Now, what she says here is very interesting. She says she read the discovery. She watched the Google Nest. The apartment had a Google Nest video system where days on days there is videos in the apartment that shows that it's a beautiful relationship. And she's telling John Reed that I read the discovery, that I supplied her with, that I've posted on the internet. She watched the Google Nest videos. She watched the dash camera inside the vehicle. And the man is innocent, and he loves his family. Now, this is relevant because when you go on this individual's live on TikTok, you'll hear her tell you a different story. She tells you the brother never posted the discovery. That the brother posted 30 pages from the discovery. And later, when she got the rest of the discovery from us, I found out that he's guilty. First of all, I posted the whole entire discovery on TikTok. This lady here is telling him, I read the discovery from back to back. I watched the Google Nest videos inside the apartment. I watched the dash camera. The man is innocent. Now you'll hear her on her live troll the conversation in a fashion that I ask you to bear and stay with her for a long while to filter out the bullshit. You can easily troll this conversation, but if you listen long enough, you're going to hear the bullshit. I ask you to go over there on their Christine Warda 7 on TikTok and listen to what she has to say and ask her to show you receipts. Now, mind you, I have to give you a disclaimer, because if you ask her for receipts, she's going to block you and she's going to kick you out. So you have to be a little bit smarter about how to ask her for receipts. I think you have to probably hang out there for a while, earn her trust, and then ask her for receipts. You're still going to get blocked if you ask for any receipts. So I gave you a fair disclaimer. I ask you to go over there, listen to what she has to say about the Mustafa Al-Jazari case, and then come back here and let's have a conversation. I'm going to show the evidence. I'm going to show you the discovery. I'm going to show you the details in this case. And if you think Mustafa is guilty, that's okay. That's your opinion. Everybody has an asshole. I have an asshole. You have an asshole. My job is to give you the evidence. Give this community the evidence. I'm not going to make up your mind for you. But what I'm telling you is I have evidence that the prosecutor is terrified that the community is going to look at. I have evidence that one of their own, a police officer, supplied me with, and now I have the sealed documents that they're terrified that people are going to look at. I have the body cams that they're terrified the community is going to look at. I have the dash camera, the full dash camera. I'm not talking about the 5 seconds they released on NBC4, where they chopped up this dash camera, pieced together a deformed version of this dash camera, put it out on BC4. I'm not talking about the 5. I'm talking about the full dash camera. That the prosecutor is terrified that the community is going to watch. And on that note, let's continue listening to Christine Alcazay, Christine Warda, a.k.a. who on body cam says her name is Amy Lucille Hodgson.
With just a separate eye to look over it, and I'm not even in that state, but I could tell you.
We're going
I
to
seen
rewind
so
just a
many
little bit.
who looked at the
I'm going to rewind just a little bit because I want you to hear again how she says she went through the whole entire discovery. The dash camera, the Google Nest, and the man is innocent. This is a tragic vehicle accident.
And really trying to follow the money and say, okay, why are these defense lawyers and others are supporting these common attorneys and helping them, basically, keep Mustafa from getting the treatment and justice he deserves.
right, and the fact that the whole case is corrupt. I read the discovery. I don't know if you've had a chance to do that. I've read the discovery. I've looked at the videos. I looked at the dash cam. I went over this case with a fine-tooth comb as just a person with just a separate eye to look over it. And I'm not even in that state. But I could tell you, I seen so many holes, John, through this entire story. I totally believe that 100% that Mustafa Al-Jazari is an innocent man. I do believe that something very, very dark and corrupt happened with those brake calipers because his car was just fixed. I'm not sure of the exact dates.
Now, Christine Alcazay, a.k.a. Amy Lucille Hodgkins, is telling John Reed, I watched the dash camera, I read the discovery, I watched the Google Nest, and this is a vehicle accident. And then she tells John Reed, the brake calipers went out. This vehicle has mechanical failure. Now, on that note, let's watch. I have a body cam that's sealed off by the county where the police department mechanic on police body cam inspected the vehicle and they found out mechanical failure. Specifically, they found out that the back passenger caliper, the front passenger caliper did not work. That Mustafa's foot was on the brake the whole entire time and the brake gave out. It had brake, but it gave out. The transmission in the vehicle, the drive shaft, disconnected from the engine. Mechanical failure. This is what the police mechanic on a police body cam is saying. And this is what Christine Alcazay, a.k.a. Amy Lucille Hodgkin, is telling John Reed, the reporter. Let's watch that body cam and then continue listening to the phone call. I want you to bear with me. I ask you to bear with me until I pull that video. It's a lot of body cams. It's a lot of discovery material. There we go. All right. So this is a police body cam where the police department, Prince William County, Virginia, is inspecting Mustafa's vehicle, and they found out brake failure. They found out brake failure. They found out transmission failure, mechanical failure in the vehicle.
Here you.
This is a police mechanic where he's going to ask the investigator to hold a bar, depress the brake, and he's going to be spinning the tire. And what he'll find is the tire keeps going. There is no brake in the vehicle.
These two. If I was to ask you if they were installed and functioning properly, would you need to remove the calipers for that?
Yeah.
Okay. As long as we can make sure that whoever put them on look like they did them correctly and look like they're not causing any issues, then I'm okay without the calipers coming off.
Visually, they look good. If somebody, is there a brake pad even left in it?
Yeah.
If I could give you a pipe or a bar to push on it, could I see if it physically stopped its rotation?
Yeah, that's fine. I think we could do that.
If I give you a bar, push on the brake, turn it, and see if it stops.
Bruce, I'm going to push the brake. He's going to spin that. Can you? That's fine. On your cam, can you record the stopping of the motion?
36. Well, we can do it the other way. I can push and you.
No, that's fine.
You hit the other one?
No, I was. Go forward. Go forward. All right.
And he's going to push on the.
Yeah, it works. It works? Okay.
So it applied and released.
Okay.
You want me to do that?
Yeah. Just tell me when you're ready. You ready?
Yep.
I'm applying it.
All right, this one's still going.
That one's still going?
Yeah, this one's still going.
Okay.
He says this one's still going. So what they're doing here is you have the investigator, he has a bar, and he depresses the brake, and the rest of the individuals are spinning the tire. Now, Mustafa, front driver, works. The brake works. It stops. The back tire, the driver's side, stops. It works. The brake works. The other side of the vehicle, the back passenger, the tire keeps going. So even if you're hitting the brake, the tire keeps going. That's brake failure. The front passenger, the tire keeps going. That's brake failure. Now the computer inside the vehicle showed that Mustafa, there's a computer inside every vehicle. The computer inside the vehicle, the data showed that Mustafa's foot was on the brake and only on the brake. Was on the brake the whole entire time trying to stop the vehicle. Now, the vehicle brake gave out. The back passenger didn't work. The front passenger didn't work. The vehicle had some brake, but it didn't come to a complete stop. The vehicle inside the computer says Mustafa's speed went from 55 to 35. There is a dash camera inside the vehicle that shows the seat, the baby seat, shifts forward. Mustafa's weight shifts forward. He's hitting the brake. The dash camera shows that. We'll pull up the dash camera. The investigators on scene say that Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. And we'll play what they're saying. Bear with me until I pull up the dash camera. This prosecutor is sealing off the dash camera. I mean, for a prosecutor that screams Mustafa is guilty, why are you terrified that the community is going to get to see this dash camera? You have a body cam where the investigator is admitting there's brake failure. You have the dash camera that shows the whole entire thing is a vehicle accident. Of course, you're going to seal it. And you tell this community a narrative. But you're terrified to show his evidence? There we go.
Find a pet-friendly Italian restaurant with outdoor seating nearby and text it to Luca.
This dash camera is about, it's 33 minutes and 10 seconds. If you fast forward all the way toward the end, if you pay attention to the backseat of Empress, you'll see that her seat shifts forward. Mustafa's weight shifts forward. He's depressing the brake. The computer inside the vehicle shows that Mustafa's foot is on the brake the whole entire time. Now, the police mechanic, when they're inspecting this vehicle, they say that the drive shaft is disconnected from the engine. Now, this is consistent with what the computer is showing inside the vehicle, because while Mustafa's foot is only on the brake, the RPM is shooting up really high. The only way the RPM can shoot up high when your foot is on the brake when the drive shaft is disconnected. I want to go to the part where the back seat shifts forwards. If you watch the baby seat, 5-year-old Empress shifts forward. She shifts forward twice. You see the vehicle jerks forwards. Mustafa is hitting the brake the whole entire time, but the vehicle does not stop. Now, one thing about this dash camera that we see is the police department say that there is no audio. The police department, for the past 2 years, they claim that this dash camera does not have audio. Now, what's interesting and what's disturbing in this case is now that we have the discovery, there's a document in the discovery that says Officer Zymus with Prince William County Digital Forensic admit that the audio is on the SD card. That this dash camera does have audio and the audio is on the SD card. So for the past 2 years, they tell us that this dash camera doesn't have audio. And now you're telling us that it does have audio? Why are they so terrified that the audio is on the records? Why are they not releasing this audio? And they say the dash camera doesn't have audio. What they're claiming is that Mustafa was arguing with Dorothy inside the vehicle. That Mustafa was angry and he crashed the vehicle on purpose. Well, you have the audio. Why not release it? Mustafa is entitled by law to hire an independent expert and download the audio off the SD card. For 2 years, they've been blocking the effort to download the audio. For a prosecutor that says there's an argument inside the vehicle, release the audio. I mean, when we watch this dash camera, we don't see an argument inside the vehicle. We see a tragic vehicle accident. As a matter of fact, this dash camera cuts before impact. Why does a dash camera cut before impact? There is no way a dash camera can cut before impact unless you cut it yourself. They tell you, we didn't cut the camera. The camera stopped before impact. Well, okay, let's entertain that logic. This is a Rexon dash camera. If you were to buy a dash camera, my brother bought it since 2018. Mustafa has a active lawsuit against the police, and he was being harassed constantly. He has an over $500,000 lawsuit. And we have videos posted where Mustafa gets pulled over and he's being harassed by the police. Mustafa bought a dash camera, so that way, every time they harass him, it's on video. He's documenting it. Now, he had this dash camera since 2018. This is a very expensive dash camera. If you were to buy a dash camera today, you would go to Best Buy, and the best dash camera is a Rexon dash camera. The brand is called the Rexon. It's a $500 dash camera out of Best Buy. And the dash camera has audio. Now, you want to tell me that a $500 dash camera just stops working before impact? That doesn't make any sense. Unless the police department cut the dash camera. Now, when we watch this, this is the last 8 seconds of the dash camera. The camera cuts off before impact. The camera stops before impact. Now, one unique and disturbing thing that we're finding is, why does the inside view stops before the outside view? This dash camera has a lens facing forward and a lens facing inward. But the lens facing inward cuts off before the outside cuts off. As a matter of fact, when you count the frames, the inside frames versus the outside frames, they're sitting on two different frames. The inside cuts off at 8.0 versus the outside cuts off at 8.3. Now, that's disturbing because this dash camera, the outside lens and the inside lens is connected to the same computer. If we were to entertain the idea that the dash camera cut off before impact, they would have to sit on the same frame because they're connected to the same computer. The outside lens, the inside lens is connected to the same computer. Someone manually cut this dash camera. This police department is so incompetent that even when they cut this dash camera, they cut it by the second and they did not cut it by the frame. We're going to measure the frames. And you tell me what is happening here. This is proof that they cut this dash camera. This police department is so incompetent that they did not cut it by frame. Now, the question is, why would they cut the dash camera? Let's count the frames, and we're going to take a deep dive into why did they cut this dash camera. So if you go back all the way, I'll put it right here. And you count the frames. Let's see, put it right here. There we go. Point 2, point 3, point 4, point 5, 6, point 7, point 8, point 9, point 1.0. Okay, 1.7. We're moving fast. Okay. 5.1, 5.8, 5.9, 6.0. We're moving forward. We're counting frames. 6.9, 7.1, 7.3, 7.4, 7.5, 7.6, 7.8, 7.9, 8.0, and it cuts off. Now, the outside camera is still running. It continues running to 8.3. But the inside lens turns off at 8.0. Let's go back. 8.0. It cuts off at 8.0. Now, what is happening here that they cut this dash camera? What they've done is they cut it by seconds and they failed to cut it by frame level. What they're claiming here is that Mustafa did not have a reaction to the vehicle accident. That Dorothy is having a reaction, but Mustafa did not have a reaction. Well, that's interesting. When we watch this dash camera, you see that Mustafa's jaw is open. You see that Mustafa stick out his tongue in panic. And just right when Mustafa is beginning to have a reaction, they cut the camera. I mean, this dash camera does not cut on its own. And to have it cut on two different frames is disturbing. These individuals, this police department, is so incompetent that they cut it by seconds and they did not cut it by frames. The outside lens and the inside lens are connected to the same computer. If we were to entertain their theory that this dash camera stopped working before impact, which doesn't happen. I mean, doesn't happen. A dash camera continues rolling. Why is it cut on two different frames? Let's go back a little bit and talk about what we were talking about earlier with the 5-year-old Empress seat shifting forward. At 5.6, you see Empress C shift forward before the intersection. Now, what is going on here? Mustafa is driving. He's driving speed limit. He's not speeding. He's not driving reckless. A tragic vehicle accident happened. Now, when a vehicle accident happened, there are criteria to manslaughter. Charge someone with manslaughter. There are criteria to manslaughter. That individual has to be speeding. In Mustafa's case, Mustafa was not speeding. The computer inside the vehicle showed that he was driving 55 miles an hour. That's the speed limit. Now, NBC4 trolled the conversation by releasing 4 seconds into this dash camera where the odometer on the speed on the dash camera stays at 77. Later in the podcast, we're going to take a deep dive into this dash camera. That it will show 3 minutes before the vehicle accident, Mustafa pulled into a 7-Eleven, and the odometer on the dash camera continues to stay on 77. When they put this dash camera out, the 4 seconds that I'm telling you about, they did not clarify to the community that the odometer on the dash camera does not work. It continues to stay on 77. That the conversation online was trolled into Mustafa was speeding. That people thought this reckless man is driving 77 miles an hour? This is a desperate effort by the prosecutor, by NBC4, to troll the conversation. Mustafa was not speeding. The computer inside the vehicle shows 55 miles an hour. He's going speed limit. And later when we take a deep dive into this dash camera, you're going to see... Well, actually, let's pull it up real quick. This is the dash camera.
First, I want to talk to you about 8 Sleep, whose pod technology can be added to your existing mattress.
This is the part where he pulls into 7-Eleven. Now, let's zoom in. The car is parked. The car is parked. This is the speed limit on the odometer. And it says 77 miles an hour. The odometer doesn't work. And when he's driving, you see when he's driving, it continues to be on 77. You see right there? The odometer doesn't change. But they put it out on the news, and they troll the conversation without clarifying that the odometer doesn't work. That the community was thinking, what a reckless man, he's driving at 77 miles an hour? So he's not speeding, the computer inside the vehicle. So there are criteria to manslaughter. You have to be reckless. You have to be speeding. So he's not reckless, he's not speeding. They did a toxicology on Mustafa's blood. No alcohol and no drugs. You can't charge him with manslaughter. He's not reckless, he's not speeding. His blood show no alcohol, no drugs. His girlfriend, no alcohol, no drugs. What this police department have done, the main investigator that talked to Mustafa, put on his police report, this investigator talked to Mustafa for half an hour on a phone call, over a phone, 2 days after the vehicle accident. This investigator talked to Mustafa on the phone. My other brother, Muhammad, recorded that phone call conversation. What this investigator did, he falsified Mustafa's statement inside the police report. And we have a phone call recording of that conversation where we took it to Internal Affairs, took it to the police department, and after running an investigation, they found out that yes, this investigator falsified Mustafa's statement on the police report. And the police department admitted that they falsified the police report. This investigator put on his police report and put on his falsified warrant, and that's how Mustafa was arrested, that Mustafa told the investigator that he was arguing with his girlfriend inside the vehicle. That he was angry at his girlfriend inside the vehicle. That's not true. Mustafa never said that. This investigator falsified Mustafa's statement. Falsified the arresting warrant. Now we have proof, we have a recording, and we'll take a deep dive into that recording. And we'll show the letter that we got from the police department. As a matter of fact, it was on the news. Now, the way they got away with charging Mustafa with manslaughter, originally it was manslaughter. But then they upgraded to murder. When we supplied Internal Affairs with a recording that this investigator falsified the police report, they can no longer charge Mustafa with manslaughter. So to retaliate 5 days after Internal Affairs admit that the police officer falsified the statement and the Commonwealth attorney was notified, they upgrade the charges to murder. Now Mustafa is being charged with 2 counts of murder. And when you watch the dash camera, there is no argument inside the vehicle. Let's watch. So, if you see right before the intersection, 5-year-old Empress. Her whole entire seat and body shifts forward twice. And Mustafa's weight, shoulder, you can see that he's hitting the brake. And the computer inside the vehicle showed that Mustafa's foot on the brake the whole entire time. And right before the camera cuts off, the inside cuts off, you'll see Mustafa's jaw is open. Mustafa sticks out his tongue. His jaw is open wider. And just when he's beginning to have a reaction to a vehicle accident, the camera cuts off. But the outside frame continues running. And they say Mustafa didn't have a reaction. That's not good enough reaction for you? I mean, this police department is so incompetent that they cut it right when you see Mustafa's jaw is open. And he sticks out Mustafa has a very distinctive feature where he sticks out his tongue in panic. I mean, what do you want him to do? He's the one driving the vehicle. You want him to throw his hand in the air? That's how you want him to panic? He's the driver. He's attempting to keep control of the vehicle. It's not good enough for you that his jaw is wide open, that he's sticking out his tongue? And then you take it further and you cut the camera. I mean, these details are terrifying for the prosecution, for the police department. What did you do to this dash camera that is cut? I mean, we're all watching this. I don't have to tell you that it's cut. I'm showing you the details. And you tell me what is happening here. Why is my brother's dash camera cut? Who in this police department that's handling evidence can I go to at Prince William County Police Department and hold accountable for my brother's dash camera cut? The discovery says the audio is on the SD cards. The dash camera, when I count the frames, is cut. And it cuts off before impact. We're asking for accountability in this police department. And we're going to continue to have a conversation. Now, let's go back and listen to the phone call conversation of this
Story.
great advocate that joined the conversation, Christine Alcazay, and is telling John Reed, I watched the dash camera. I looked at the Google Nest inside the apartment. I read the discovery, and the man is innocent. This is a vehicle accident. Let's continue that conversation.
I totally believe that 100% that Mustafa Al-Jazari is an innocent man. I do believe that something very, very dark and corrupt happened with those brake calipers because his car was just fixed. You know, I'm not sure of the exact dates, but I know it was fixed like within a 2-week span of the accident.
Yes.
The car was taken back because, you know, he said it didn't feel right. They redid it and they fixed the calipers and actually put some new ones on the back. For them to not work after, you know, the night before, there were death threats, you know, and then there was the guy from I'm sure you saw the viral video, the guy from the strip club. I think they all tie into this. I mean, like, somebody,
This is beautiful.
I believe, messed with his brakes.
Christine Alcazay is telling John Reed, the reporter, that there is an incident with a club owner that Mustafa's brakes were messed around with the night before. Mustafa door handle was ripped off. Chrome on the door handle was ripped off the day before. Someone was tampering with his vehicle. 4 months before the vehicle accident, Mustafa, there was an incident where a situation went viral. Mustafa has a small business. He sells heat warmers, physical equipment, those small physical therapy equipment devices. He sells medical equipment. Now, there's a location where Mustafa goes out to. There's a lot of people there where he promotes his business and he sells his equipment. And he's been going there for over 3 years. That when I got back from overseas, I started helping my brother with his business. And I had a small business, which is a roadside assistant business where we do roadside assistant and mobile mechanic, and it's dedicated to the Marines home base. But to expand my business, I would go out with my brother and I would expand into that area where I pass out my card. At the same time, I help my brother sell his equipment. And it's a beautiful location. It's a very heavily populated area where it's great for business. It's public property. It's a public easement right in front of a strip club that sits in Crystal City in Arlington. Right next to that business, there is a Chinese restaurant. And right to the left, there's a 7-Eleven. And when we go there, the strippers out of the strip club would come out and see how hard my brother is working, that they would help him promote his business. I mean, you see a man that's in the heat, in the cold, is always there selling and pushing his business. That they started helping my brother. They have a good relationship with him. One day, the owner of that club comes out and he wants to kick my brother out of that public property. Now let's watch the video. A public property that's a public easement, by law, he doesn't have access. He can't kick my brother out of the area. Let's watch that video. And this video goes viral. When I tell you it went viral, over 7 million people saw that video of a white racist fat guy being racist to Mustafa. And this community is not okay with being racist. That individuals, the community stopped boycotting that establishment, the strip club. People were doing those videos on TikTok. I mean, that video went over 7 million views. Let's watch that video.
Keep it up, and goddamn it, I'm telling you, you're gonna fucking go.
My brother is out there promoting his business, and this guy comes in his face.
Get the fuck off my property.
I was there.
Get the fuck off it.
I recorded that incident.
Get the fuck off my property. You get the fuck off it. You're gonna go to jail.
Hoping, I recorded that incident. I was there, and I was hoping that this is gonna de-escalate the situation. That this fat fuck is gonna realize that he's being recorded, and is gonna de-escalate the situation. The police are about to be here. So, this video went viral. Now, what's unique about this video is the prosecutor is painting a monster to this community. That Mustafa is this monster. And it's interesting that when we watch this video, we get to see insight into who Mustafa is. Now you have a fat fuck breathing down your neck and is attempting to kick you off of property that he does not have access into. Who are you to kick me off of public property? But what is Mustafa doing? He's taking steps backwards. He's attempting to de-escalate the situation. I mean, that's not the monster that the prosecutor is painting for us. Let's continue watching this video.
Keep it up, and goddamn it, I'm telling you, you're gonna fucking go. Are you gonna stop me? You're gonna fucking get off my property. How many times do I have to tell him, officer? Get the fuck off my property. Get the fuck off it.
I got this whole thing on
Yeah, you're good. Get the fuck off my property. You get the fuck off it.
You're gonna go to jail, bro.
Yeah, you watch who goes to fucking jail. How many times have you heard how many times I've told him? And you'll fucking see where we're standing. Get the fuck off my property, motherfucker.
Bitch, stop standing.
Fuck you. Get off. Fucking keep it up, and God.
Now, this community, the details matter. The details in this case matter. A month into that situation, Mustafa meets Dorothy. It was a 3-month relationship before the vehicle accident happened. This happens. Mustafa meets Dorothy. And fast forward 3 months, a tragic vehicle accident happened. Now, this guy is a club owner. This guy went viral. The community stopped boycotting his business. After that incident, we went across the street. Even though we had every right to be there, the police showed up and they couldn't remove us from, even though that guy had a relationship with the police. By law, the police couldn't do anything because this is a public easement and Mustafa is promoting and selling his equipment. So, but to de-escalate the situation, we went over across the street and we continued running our business. Now, the strippers that loved Mustafa is now antagonizing Mustafa. And when you take a step backward and look at the whole entire situation, I mean, the community stopped boycotting the establishment. It started cutting into their pocket. No one wanted to go into that club anymore. It was a giant deal that this guy is being racist, and it was all over the internet. That to satisfy their boss, they started antagonizing Mustafa. I remember at one point, one of the strippers would come across the parking lot, antagonize Mustafa, only to record Mustafa. And they were attempting to. Billy was really upset, and that's his employees. They wanted Billy to be happy. Now, a month into this incident, Mustafa meets Dorothy. Mustafa met Dorothy. Now, unbeknownst to Mustafa, Dorothy has a 16-year-old daughter who didn't live at the apartment, lived with her dad, separated by CPS, and is living a certain lifestyle that her mom did not agree with and wanted to move away from. And we know this. We have an audio recording from the ex-boyfriend, Dorothy's ex-boyfriend, who gives us insight into Dorothy's 16-year-old daughter. Now, why is that relevant? It's relevant because it's unbeknownst to Mustafa, this 16-year-old daughter, her dad works for Billy. Mustafa had no idea. We had no idea. No one knew any. But now details are coming out where the police department is using the 16-year-old daughter, and she's saying a lot of negative things about Mustafa. She's repeating the same sentiments that Billy is repeating, the strippers that works for Billy is repeating, and apparently she's been hanging around those strippers. Her dad pierces all the strippers for Billy. Now, Mustafa had no idea. He just, a month into this situation, met Dorothy. 16-year-old Kylie Clapp her dad works for Billy, and he has a very deep relationship. If you know anything about strip clubs, her dad pierces the strippers for Billy. To be able to pierce the strippers, all the strippers, for Billy, for the club owner, that's a deep relationship. Now, let's listen to Kylie on a recorded line talk about her dad working for Billy.
My dad, he's a piercer. He pierces like a lot of strippers, and he had brought up to them what happened, and they were and who they were, and they were like, yeah, we know this guy. Like, he used to record our license plates and put it on the internet and like follow us home and stuff. So I also was thinking, I don't want them to follow me home, and I don't want to put myself in a position where, I'm unsafe.
Now, Kylie, on a recorded line, is repeating the same sentiments that the strippers started saying after Billy went viral. The same strippers that loved Mustafa is now antagonizing Mustafa because their owner, their boss, went viral. She's repeating the same sentiment. She said, my dad works for Billy, and she hangs out around those strippers. Now, this is relevant because we're finding out that in the discovery, now that we have the discovery, is she's been saying a lot of bad things about Mustafa. And she tells the police in a forensic interview she was never at the apartment and she was never there. But yet she has she wants to talk about Mustafa's relationship with her mom. She wants to talk about her Mustafa's relationship with the kids. But she's not there. The question is for this police department, how could you use Kylie as a witness if she's telling you, I didn't see anything? I was never there. As a matter of fact, we have Google Nest videos inside the apartment that shows how beautiful Mustafa's relationship with Dorothy and the kids. Yeah. And it's days on days of Google Nest material, Google Nest videos. Now, unbeknownst to Mustafa, apparently, Kylie is working for Billy. Now, we get to have insight of the kind of relationship that she has with her mom and why she hates Mustafa. Apparently, we obtained an audio recording from a private investigator that went out deep undercover sat down with the ex-boyfriend, Glenn Ford. And the things that he says on the audio recording are so revealing into the whole entire case. And he tells us what is going on behind closed doors. Let's listen to the ex-boyfriend of Dorothy talk about Kylie, and we're going to take a deep dive into why Kylie is saying so many bad things about Mustafa, but then she was never there. And the police department, the question that we're asking is, the police department has an obligation to filter out hearsay from individuals that are actual witnesses and not use hearsay and build and manufacture a case that's built on manufactured probable cause. All right, so this is the recording that we obtained from a private investigator who went deep undercover and sat down with the ex-boyfriend. You can easily find it on YouTube. You can easily find it on our TikTok channel. And YouTube has a very interesting feature where if you put the time, it'll take you directly to the portions that's relevant. Now, let's see, 27 minutes, Glenn Ford says Kylie, blah, 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 okay. I had to, okay. At 55 minute, Glenn Ford said I had to force the kid, okay. Now, I want to give you a disclaimer. The things that the ex-boyfriend says, Glenn Ford, are very revealing about who he is. In one portion in the recording, he tells you, Fatma, can you do me a favor? Can you close that door? In one portion in the recording, he admits to a private investigator that Kylie would show up at the apartment so high that she doesn't know where she's at. That he's on the same drugs. That he would wake up to Kylie, 16-year-old Kylie, in his bed. Now you're talking about a 40-year-old man admitting to a private investigator that he would wake up to a 16-year-old in his bed. Now, the police department is using the ex-boyfriend also as a star witness. Now imagine, in what world does the police department is using a pedophile as a star witness in the case? Are they aware that there's a recording of Glenn Ford, the star witness, admit to a private investigator that he would wake up with a 16-year-old in his bed? At one point, he talks about forcing Dorothy's kids, when he was in a relationship with her, that he's forcing to wash the kids. What 40-year-old man is forcing a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old to shower? This is beyond disturbing. This is beyond disgusting. Now, Glenn Ford, you can easily find him on TikTok under Glenn Ford. You can reach out to him and have him address what he's telling this private investigator. He's yet to address this audio recording. This is not me saying that Glenn Ford is a pedophile, that he slept with a 16-year-old. This is him on a recorded line that the community is listening to. We want him to address the recording. He refused to address the recording. He has yet to come out and address this recording. So we have you on a recorded line saying that you slept with a 16-year-old. You're forcing a 9 and a 10-year-old to shower, and you say in that recording, it's disturbing. I'm not watching them. I'm not looking at them. I'm just showering them. That's disturbing. And then at one point in the recording, he says that 16-year-old Kylie Clapp, Dorothy's daughter, who, mind you, did not live with her mom, is living with her dad, that works for Billy, the club owner, that hates the fuck out of Mustafa for going viral, for almost running out of business. 16-year-old Kylie came up to him and is asking him to kill Mustafa. And can we make it look like an accident? Glenn Ford, the ex-boyfriend, admit to a private investigator that this 16-year-old at one point came up to him and asked him to kill Mustafa. And can we make it look like an accident? Now, what do we have here today? We're going to listen to this audio in a minute. Just giving you the context. What do we have here today? We have a vehicle. We have a tragic vehicle accident where the police are saying there's brake failure. There is transmission failure. There's mechanical failure in this vehicle. We have a dash camera that when we watch the dash camera, this is a vehicle accident. Mustafa is hitting the brake, but the vehicle doesn't stop. Now, is it possible? Can we have the police department look into this recording and ask Kylie Clapp, why are you soliciting to kill Mustafa? And can we make it look like an accident? Where today we have a vehicle accident and we have mechanical failure admitted by the police. The police are admitting on their own body cam that there's mechanical failure. Can we look into Kylie? Can we look into Glenn Ford? There's an audio recording that is literally on the internet being listened to by this community that Kylie Clapp has went up to Glenn Ford and solicited Mustafa to be killed. And can we make it look like an accident? Now, the question is, why is Kylie asking to kill Mustafa? Now, when you hear Glenn Ford, he takes you on a deep dive into who is Kylie and the kind of relationship that she had with her mom before she met Mustafa. Kylie is living a lifestyle of, and this is not according to me, this is according to Glenn Ford, that she constantly argues with her mom back and forth, and her mom is not happy. Kylie is living a lifestyle of drugs, prostitution, and this little girl, the 16-year-old girl at the time, wants to tell her mom what to do. That her mom, at one point, tells her, I'm moving forward with my life. You do what you want. I'm moving forward with my life. Go live with your dad, but I'm moving forward with my life. Now, we obtained this information from a forensic interview. In a forensic interview, Kylie is angry that her mom is picking her boyfriend, Mustafa, over her. Kylie is angry. Now, Mustafa just met your mom. Now you have a 16-year-old that's blaming her new boyfriend for her mom getting her life together. And is repeating and is formulating her opinion about her mom's boyfriend from the strippers that she's hanging around. Her dad works for Billy. She's around strippers that hate Mustafa. Thank you. That hates Mustafa. And now she's blaming Mustafa for her mom getting her life together and moving forward. And she blames Mustafa for taking her mom away from her. How is this Mustafa's fault? Now the police department sees this, is analyzing this, are listening to Kylie in a forensic interview. They know that Dorothy and Kylie had problems before they met Mustafa. They know that Mustafa just met her mother. It's a 3-month relationship. And they're hearing that Kylie is sleeping with this 40-year-old man. She has this 40-year-old man wrapped around her finger for her to feel comfortable to come up to a 40-year-old man, her mom's ex-boyfriend, and ask him, can we kill Mustafa and make it look like an accident, is beyond disturbing. The police department knows that this is a disturbed child. And to take her forensic interview and build a whole entire case on Mustafa's character, Mustafa's relationship with her mom, Mustafa's relationship with her brothers, is disturbing. Knowing that Kylie was not living at the apartment. Kylie was living at her dad's. Kylie was never there. How could you be a witness to something that you've never seen? On that note, let's listen to the audio. And I want to remind everybody that the police department is doing this because they have a vested interest to turn a tragic vehicle accident into something that it's not. Mustafa was in an active lawsuit against the police. Over $500,000 lawsuit, a lawsuit that dragged from 2018 all the way to the vehicle accident. When the accident happened, every piece of evidence showed this was a vehicle accident. But they falsified the police reports. Every police report in Mustafa Al-Jazari case is falsified. And I have the evidence to prove it. You don't have to take my word for it. I'm literally posting the material on the internet. I ask you to go over to Christine Al-Khuzai, listen to her trolling the conversation, and come back and ask me for receipts. She's not going to give you any receipts. And God help you if you say Mustafa is innocent. Because she has the wife of the investigator on her live under Kate 0707 using Prince William County resources. That if you don't agree with her, she's going to post pictures. She's going to find you. She's going to find out your information. And she's going to post your kids on the internet. You think I'm kidding? Go up there and try. Tell her you don't agree with her. Tell her that you're watching the body cam. Tell her you're watching the Discovery. I promise you, you wake up tomorrow, you're going to see your kids all over the internet. We have a lot of individuals, friends and supporters that are dealing with the same issue here at Prince William County. I can give you names, but why give you names when you're going to find out on your own? On that note, let's take a deep dive into the recording that we obtained from a private investigator that went deep undercover and sat down with the jealous ex-boyfriend, Glenn Ford, and let's hear what he has to say.
I had to force those kids to take a fucking shower. I had to teach them. I had to force those kids to take a shower.
He has to force these kids to take a shower. You're a 40-year-old man, and you're talking about kids that are 9 and 10, and you had to force them to take a shower.
Force those kids to take a fucking shower. I had to teach them how to fucking take a shower. I mean, I wasn't in there with the boys looking around or whatever.
I wasn't in there with the boys. I wasn't looking at them. I wasn't in there with the boys. But I'm forcing a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old to shower.
Not the older daughter, but the other daughter. I think she did some shit with her.
This is a 59-minute and 57 seconds recording. If you go on YouTube, we've put benchmarks so that way it takes you directly to certain audios, a portion in the audio. But I ask you to listen to the whole entire thing and go on TikTok. His name is literally here, Glenn Ford, and ask him to address the audio recording. And I ask you to reach out to a channel here on YouTube. It's also on TikTok. It's Vitelli Clips. He has a whole entire program, a whole entire show, where he goes out and holds pedophiles accountable. This man is a pedophile. A 40-year-old man talking about a 16-year-old, waking up to a 16-year-old in his bed is disgusting. Talking about showering a 9-year-old, forcing a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old. It's disgusting. I'm not looking at them. I'm just forcing them to. It's disgusting. I ask you to reach out to a giant channel on YouTube, a giant channel on TikTok. It's under Vitelli Clips. He has a whole entire show where if he finds out that there is a pedophile in our community, he goes out of his way and Vitelli's his ass. So we ask you to bring the situation awareness because this is unacceptable.
How old was she? 16? 15 or 16. The one time her daughter came to my house all high and shit, I'm like, yo, bro, nah. I told her, like, yo.
Like just weed or?
No, it's not weed.
16-year-old will come into his house all high, and the private investigator asks him, "Is it weed?" "No, it's not weed. It's harder drugs." And then he goes into, "I take him to, and then I wake up with her in my bed."
If it was weed, I wouldn't care as much.
Yeah.
She used to come in and
Like nodding.
and just like on the ground, like,
She's so out of it that she's on the ground. She's like, yeah. She doesn't know where she's at. And he's describing this to this private investigator, that she doesn't know where she's at. And then he takes it further and says, "I'm on the same drugs. I wake up with her in my bed."
Like opiates.
man, I sit there like, bruh. Like, I take them. Well, I took them.
Yeah.
And I didn't act like that. Like,
Yeah.
that was like, me, I used to do it like to the point where I took it because I didn't want to get sick and withdrawal.
Yeah.
So I took like one. I think one, I'm good for the day.
Yeah.
She looked like she took like multiple, or she took them a
Did
different
mom
way.
do it with her?
No. I know for a fact, Dorothy didn't do pills with her, but she would smoke weed with her.
Okay.
Use the Shipt app to get same-day delivery from all of your favorite stores.
I told Dorothy, your daughter comes to this house like that one more
Why do you
time.
think that she did something like she did what happened to her with that one?
Her daughter said it.
What the fuck she say?
Like, when she was arguing with her mom, like, because Dorothy and her used to argue all the time.
This is not the oldest
Not
one.
the oldest one. The oldest one, she's a sweetheart. She's a fucking sweetheart. But she gangster too.
Nah.
She gangster, like, she's great.
So he's talking about Dorothy and Kylie are always arguing, and he's about to tell this private investigator what is the content of their argument.
Kill that nigga. Like, seriously kill that nigga.
She's the one that wanted to do.
The older one.
So what did she say to?
Oh, because,
They be arguing.
yeah, and she be like, the way she dressed and shit, Dorothy be like, you run around acting like a little slut or whatever. And she be like, oh, you look pop all the hell back because we used to fuck the same guys and da-da-da-da and all that shit. I'm like, oh.
What?
I'm like, y'all gotta go.
Wow.
Y'all gotta go.
The content of the argument back and forth between her and the mom is the mom is upset about her 16-year-old daughter dressed up the way she's dressing up like a hoe. And then the daughter would tell the mom, "We're fucking the same guy." And Glenn Ford immediately wants to shut down this conversation. And he's like, "You both gotta go." He wants to shut down this conversation. We're talking about a pedophile here. And we have a recording. And we're asking this police department to look into this recording, to look into this individual, because he goes on and says disturbing things about the 16-year-old who he's fucking, is soliciting to kill Mustafa. And then when you look at this 16-year-old, you find out that her dad works for Billy. Billy, the same guy that has a problem with Mustafa, where the video went viral. Now, this all is going on unbeknownst to Mustafa. That 16-year-old doesn't even live there. But she's being used by the police department to manufacture probable cause.
Wow, and she was only 16? And said we used to?
I'm like, y'all gotta go. This shit right here, like, nah, I'm not about that life, nah. I don't want no cops knocking on my door asking for you.
Wow.
And they did that too. After I kicked her out, whatever, the school system came. It's like, yeah, it's Dorothy Fontaine. I'm like, yo, she can fucking live here. What y'all here for? Yeah, because her kids haven't been in school for weeks. I'm like, I don't know where she at. She doesn't live here. She never lived here. Like,
a lot of her behaviors remind me of someone who has a substance abuse problem.
no, she never, like, she didn't do no drugs. She
What
knew,
about that Mustafa guy?
I don't know. I just think he just smokes weed. Cause I even asked her, like, you know what I'm saying, like, yo, you on?
Is he alcoholic?
I just know he's supposed to be. Because I asked her, like, you know what I'm saying, because at that time I was taking the shits, and I was like, it wouldn't be a problem. Like, you know what, just to stop anything, I won't, if I do it, I won't do it in this house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So every time I, like, come home from work, I would do it before I get in the house.
Yeah.
Or I would step out my house. Even
Yeah.
though I shouldn't have to step out my house.
Yeah.
Every time she's trying to sleep in my bed, like, no, go in the fucking living room, yo. I'm like, you're not sleeping in my bed, not with me in it. Like, I don't want none of that drama. I don't want to be fun with nothing.
He would wake up to that 16-year-old in his bed. That 16-year-old is arguing with her mom about fucking the same guy. And then he's going to go into where that 16-year-old is soliciting to kill Mustafa, and can we make it look like an accident?
Some of them have seen it before, and they're still in awe just as much as they were when they saw it in a video or a post.
Especially the older daughter. And she wanted me to kill him.
The older daughter wanted you to kill him?
Yeah. Like, right, like, could you please, like, if I make it look like, so, like, you know what I'm saying, like something, it's like self-defense, would you do it? And I'm like, no.
Now, Kylie goes up to Glenn Ford and solicits Mustafa to kill Mustafa. I mean, what's going on with the 16-year-old? The police department has an obligation to look into why the 16-year-old is saying all the negative things about Mustafa. And now we have a vehicle accident that, according to the police department, has mechanical failure. This 16-year-old, there's a witness, Glenn Ford, on a recorded line, says that she came up to him and is soliciting him to kill Mustafa. This 16-year-old, her dad, Jason Clapp, Jason Clapp, works for Billy. He pierces all of Billy's strippers. She's living with her dad. Is she blaming Mustafa for... Is she feeling abandoned that her mom is moving forward with her life and is choosing her boyfriend? Is it because she's around Billy and the strippers that she's repeating the same sentiments and is repeating and formulating her opinion from those individuals? Whatever it is, whatever the situation is, the police department is using this 16-year-old. At the time she was 16, now she's 18. To build and manufacture probable cause. She was never there. She never lived at the apartment. And last time I checked, if you're not there, and if you haven't seen, it's called hearsay. When you want to say, Mustafa is abusive to my mom, but I never saw it, that's hearsay. Mustafa is abusive to my brother, the rest of the family, the kids. That's hearsay. If you haven't seen it, it's hearsay. If you don't have evidence, it's hearsay. Now, unfortunately for Kylie in the police department that pretend not to know the difference between hearsay and an actual witness, we have the Google Nest inside the apartment that shows Mustafa loves his family. That Dorothy and the kids love Mustafa. Let's play the Google Nest. These are videos from the Google Nest. We have 3 days. We have the day of the accident, the day before, and the day before. This is Google Nest, video Google Nest from inside the apartment. You don't have to sit here and take my word for it, for Mustafa's relationship. We don't have to rely on witnesses that are saying hearsay about Mustafa. We have the Google Nest inside the apartment. For a prosecutor that wants justice, why is she terrified there's a Google Nest? Oh, wait a minute, it doesn't fit the narrative. The prosecutor is terrified that the Google Nest is coming out. And it's all over the internet, that the community is watching. This is April 3rd. This is April 3rd, 10 p.m. This is Dorothy's 14-year-old child, Jaden, who you'll see in a forensic interview beat himself up. And he's telling the forensic lady with the police department, he's beating himself up. I trusted Mustafa. Mom always told me to trust Mustafa. But only after the police investigator told me that my mom's boyfriend ran away, crashed it on purpose, ran away. Gonna pause it. Ran away and left my 5-year-old baby sister in the car. And if it wasn't for him running away, my 5-year-old sister would have still been alive today. Imagine a badge and a uniform, an investigator, comes up to a 14-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 9-year-old that just lost their mother, who on body cam, that are sealed by the county, are admitting this is a vehicle accident, are now going into a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 10-year-old. According to the child himself, this is what he's saying. He said the police came up to him, the investigator came up to him and lied to him, painted Mustafa as a monster. I mean, to tell a 14-year-old child that Mustafa ran away and your 5-year-old baby sister, we could have saved her if he hadn't ran away. Mustafa was in a coma. Mustafa was helicoptered to the hospital. Mustafa was released by the hospital by the police. And the first thing that he did is to make sure the kids are okay, the kids that were in the apartment. What are you doing painting Mustafa as a monster? We'll watch this forensic interview. They're terrified right now that we have the forensic interview. that we're taking a deep dive into what the police department did and how they abused children. I mean, is it not child abuse to lie to these kids in their most vulnerable state? It's child abuse. It's beyond child abuse. I mean, if this isn't child abuse, I don't know what child abuse is. You have Jaden, the 14-year-old, beat himself. And watching this, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking that we have to sit here and watch it and talk about it. But the police department put us in a corner that to talk about Mustafa and the Mustafa Al-Jazari case, we have to talk about the forensic interview. And we have to talk about what this police department did to these children and how they're weaponizing these kids against Mustafa. And to not address the giant elephant in the room is not having a genuine conversation. This police department painted a monster to kids who needed Mustafa at that time. These kids, they just lost their mother. And you go up to them and tell them, lie to them, when you're the one that helicoptered Mustafa. He's in a coma. You release him from the hospital. What are you doing telling kids that he ran away? This is a Google Nest inside the apartment that shows Mustafa love his family. This is Jaden, who we'll watch in a minute, in a forensic interview, beat himself up for trusting Mustafa, and he says, Mom always told me to trust Mustafa. That gives you insight into how much this kid loved Mustafa. We have 3 days of video Google Nest that shows how beautiful this relationship is until the police got involved.
Mom, you're next.
This is Nini's child, and it's very interesting that you see on a Google Nest Nini's child, the neighbor's child, because in the discovery, Nini is lying about Mustafa, and we'll take a deep dive why Nini is lying about Mustafa. Nini's criminal charges were deleted by the police department. The ex-boyfriend criminal charges were deleted by the police department. This child's mother had a hit and run. They removed her charges, the Commonwealth. Glenn Ford, the ex-boyfriend, he had a gun charge, he had drug charges, intent to distribute, intoxication. The Commonwealth attorney removed his charges, only to lie about Mustafa. Now in the discovery, Kim Coleman, this child's mother, you'll hear her say on a body cam, before she tells this investigator this, you hear the investigator tell her that Mustafa did this on purpose. Hours within the vehicle accident, in the initial stages of this being an investigation. You're investigating. You just had a tragic vehicle accident, and on your own body cam, you're saying that Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. But these body cams are sealed. But unfortunately for them, now we have them. And the community is watching these body cams. We'll play that body cam in a minute, where the investigator admit that all these are Mustafa's skid marks, that this is a vehicle accident, and Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. This is Nini's child. The investigator, hours on a body cam, and we'll watch that body cam, is telling this child mother, Kim Coleman, that Mustafa did it on purpose. That Mustafa, he's given her a scenario where Mustafa is guilty. Now, he's aware that hours within the vehicle accident, that mother is also in possession of the other kids. You're telling her, and you're setting the stage, and now we find out that you're coaching the kids and telling them that Mustafa ran away. So the police tell that mother, Kim Coleman, the mother of that child, that Mustafa is on the run, that Mustafa did this on purpose, knowing that she's in possession of the kids And now the kids are talking about that you told them that Mustafa ran away, left your 5-year-old baby sister in the vehicle, and if he hadn't ran away, she would have still been alive today. You're setting a stage where you're painting Mustafa as a monster, knowing that you're lying to everybody. I mean, we have the body cams. Now, Nene, Kim Coleman, she tells the investigator that Dorothy told me that Mustafa is abusive. She's sitting there telling the investigator that Mustafa is abusive. Did you see anything? She says no. That Dorothy had told her that Mustafa had peed on her. That's how abusive he is. At one point, she says that Mustafa came up and he peed on her. Now, did you see anything? Do you have any proof? She says no. My question is, she's telling the investigator that Mustafa is this abusive man and he had peed on his girlfriend. What is her child doing in Mustafa's apartment? If Mustafa is this abusive man and she claimed that Dorothy told her that he's so abusive that he peed on, what are you doing leaving your child in Mustafa's apartment? And throughout the whole entire body cams, you see Mustafa, Nene's child, the night of the accident, he slept over until the next day. He was spending his spring break with the kids. At one point, you see Nene's child go up to Mustafa, call him dad, call Dorothy mom, and he would be there. He's there every night. He's spending his spring break over at Mustafa's house, at Mustafa and Dorothy's apartment. So you're telling me that your kid is always over at Mustafa's apartment, but you're telling this investigator that Mustafa is abusive and he peed that on Dorothy? This is bullshit. And when it doesn't make sense, it's bullshit. Clearly, Nene is lying to this investigator. Clearly, there's something going on where they're setting the stage for these kids. I mean, you're telling me that Nene is telling these kids that your mom told me that he peed on her? She's coaching the kids. The police are aiding and abetting to set a stage for kids to be weaponized against Mustafa. And what do we find? We find Nene's criminal charges mysteriously disappear. We see Glenn Ford's charges mysteriously disappear. And it's all based on hearsay that Mustafa is abusive to Dorothy. Mustafa is abusive to the kids. Now, they're terrified that the Google Nest inside the apartment is coming out and they can no longer lie about Mustafa. Let's continue watching this Google Nest. And it gives us insight. It shows us the relationship that Mustafa has with... This is Mustafa.
What are you guys doing? What the fuck is this? What is this horseplay shit?
They're playing with the water gun.
I'll beat your ass. No, I'll put you in a fucking frying pan and cook you up like
You want to tell me? You want to tell me that Mustafa is this abusive man? Mustafa rushes into the room, and they're playing water gun. Everybody's chasing after each other. Mustafa rushes in. He's running away from one of the kids that's chasing him with the water gun. Closes the door, and Nene's child sits there with the door closed, and they're horse playing. They're joking around. Beat your ass. Blah, 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 blah. And for the kid to tell Mustafa that, you can see that this child is not scared from Mustafa. Loves Mustafa. That door is not open. I mean, if that was a terrified child, he wouldn't say that to Mustafa. The prosecutor is terrified that this Google Nest is being released, where the community is now watching this prosecutor lie about Mustafa. Use individuals that simply say hearsay about Mustafa, and the whole entire case is built on manufactured probable cause. The Judge Carol Weimer, the part where in the discovery that said where Nini, that child's mother, the neighbor, said that Dorothy came up to her, and she said that she claimed that Dorothy came up to her and that he peed on her. The judge said, this is hearsay. Judge Carol Weimer striked it from everything. He said, this is bullshit. This is clearly hearsay. That the judge just removed it from the whole thing. But there is a lot of trolls that are trolling the conversation. They're like, the discovery. When you read the discovery, it says that Nini said that. Just because it has a fancy name that is called discovery, for those that don't understand and don't comprehend that this is a fancy term, just because it's in the discovery, you have to be able to tell what's hearsay and what is actual evidence. What is an actual witness? Did you see it? Were you there? Or are you repeating? Or are you just making it up? The judge striked it from the whole thing. He's like, this is bullshit. He removed it. But it's easy to troll the conversation. But I'm not talking to individuals that are attempting to troll the conversation. I mean, this has been going on over 2 years. And the longer it goes on, the community as a whole is watching. What am I talking about? Our conversation can no longer be dismissed. A year ago, 2 years ago, you can easily dismiss. I can talk about this all day long. You know what you'll tell me? You'll tell me, Omar, where is your evidence? But today, you can no longer dismiss the conversation when I show you Google Nest videos inside the apartment, when I show you body cams, when I show you the dash camera. I mean, it's so disturbing that this prosecutor is terrified to come out and publicly talk about sealed material being all over the internet. Why do you think? I mean, a county as big as Prince William County, to have sealed material be disseminated all over the internet, and the Commonwealth Attorney is terrified to address the situation? You want to tell me that's normal? The news is terrified to address the situation. I mean, these are body cams that are sealed by the county. There is a judge order to make sure that this material is sealed. No body cam, no document, nothing. But now it's all over the internet, and they're radio silent. They're terrified. They're terrified. This is a very terrifying situation for them. We're going to continue to have a conversation. And the longer this goes on, this channel is growing. We have a presence on YouTube. We're no longer just on TikTok. We have a podcast here on YouTube. And this channel is growing every day. Every day my brother tells me I have correctional officers inside the jail that are coming up to him and are attempting to build a relationship. And they're upset at how they treated my brother over the label and the lies that the police department put out over him. The police department lied. The prosecutor lied. They cover up for police officer. Police misconduct. Police misconduct is a very fancy name to downplay what's happening here. You flat out lied. And now we have the body cam and the community is watching. The community is the deciding factor in all this. How do you think this is going to play out in court? That we have Kylie on a recorded line where Glenn Ford admit that she solicited to kill Mustafa. These are star witnesses being used in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. Those witnesses, they sealed off the forensic interviews. They sealed off the body cams. And now that they're out, now they're a liability. Now the community gets to see what the police have done and how they weaponize those kids. And they're turning kids that love Mustafa against Mustafa. Let's continue watching this Google Nest.
I can fight.
This is Dorothy's child, Imagine. He's 10 years old. This is April 3rd, 10 p.m. This is Nini's child. This is Nini's other child. This is the neighbor. You have Jaden, Dorothy's 14-year-old child. Mustafa's in the background. They're playing water guns. They're chasing after each other. They're horse playing. And then you'll see Dorothy comes in. And they're all playing water guns. They're all chasing after each other. Mustafa is filling up the water gun. They're all horse playing. You want to tell me this is not a beautiful relationship? The prosecutor is terrified that this is being leaked out to the internet. And the community is watching.
That's not. One more?
Yeah, one more.
Oh, he's doing the NLE chocolate. He's doing it. NBA never broke again. NBA young boy.
JB got. Hey, look at him. He's 30.
Oh, your hand. Oh, I can break your hands. I don't want to be tough. I don't want to be strong with you, man. Hey, listen, man. We got to stop horse playing. Where they at? He's like, give me some more when I'm thirsty.
Oh, give that shit in my
Exactly.
Let's
not stop. Stop before I smack you.
The more you watch,
Are you done fucking around?
you realize how much.
You got me wet.
This is Dorothy. She has a water gun. They're chasing after each other. That's Jaden. Dorothy is laughing, having fun. Jaden, Mustafa.
That's what you get for beating up my mom, muscles. Hey, yo, yeah. Oh, shit.
That's Nini's child. Mustafa comes out with more water guns.
Sean, that's a great idea, actually.
Damn. We gotta get the whole gallon. Back up. Back.
No, Sean, that's Scott.
You want to tell me these are kids that are terrified of Mustafa? At what point does the conversation become bullshit?
His hand got stuck. All right, no more horse playing. You guys, somebody's gonna get hurt. Somebody's gonna get hurt. Stop. What are you doing with that? That's not water. That's not water. That's soda. All right, are you guys gonna stop?
Yeah. Yeah.
soda. That's soda. That's not water. That's not. No, that's soda.
Kate! That's crazy. Wait, let me help you.
Bro, like damn.
Okay. Alright, now? Here you go.
Stop.
Fat chicken nugget.
Hey, bro, I swear.
That's not.
Stop. I'm on your team. Stop. Stop. I'm on your team.
No, you're not. You're lying. That's crazy.
I'm not lying.
This is Nini's child,
Wait,
the neighbor,
me?
Jaden. 14-year-old Jaden. You'll see him in a forensic interview where the police department, after making contact with the kids, this is Jaden.
I'm done. I'm done. That's it,
A beautiful relationship inside the house. They take this beautiful relationship and how much they love Mustafa, and they paint and turn Mustafa into a monster in front of these kids.
I gotta go make some money. Okay, stop.
This is the forensic interview with Jaden, the 14-year-old child. And you'll hear him talk about that an investigator came up to him and told him that Mustafa had ran away, left your 5-year-old baby sister in the car, and if he hadn't ran away, we could have saved your baby sister. I mean, to paint Mustafa, what do you want? I mean, if I was 14 years old and a badge and a uniform comes up to me and tell me that Mustafa ran away and left my 5-year-old baby sister in the car, we could have saved her, but he ran away. And then Jaden tells you, I trusted Mustafa. Mom always told me to trust Mustafa. That gives you insight. The kid is beating himself up. Let's listen to the forensic interview.
On the game. I went into my mom's room and was watching YouTube with my baby sister. My brother wanted me to leave so I can show her something. She begged me to stay, so I stayed. And I stayed until I left with Daniel. And because they were leaving soon to go in errands, rather I should have stayed because that was going to be the last day I ever saw her again. I came back from Daniel's house to my brother and my younger brother, Farron, and she's still here. Apparently they didn't go with them, which was a good thing. Anyway, I was watching them, waiting for them to get back until I got the news. I saw, we called him Moses, but anyway, he came from the hospital in a hospital gown and blood on his forehead, and which was weird. He told me my mom they got into a T-bone accident. Rather, no, that was on purpose. He made that T-bone accident. He ran out into mid-traffic and he put himself in an accident on purpose. I don't know why. I don't know his reasons. But at the time, I was so upset. I didn't realize the truth. I was crying. I was upset. I was really upset. My mom just died. We cleaned the whole house for her too. Cheer her up. And at the time, my baby sister was in the hospital. She was in a car seat at the accident. She sadly did not make it. The fact is, I saw him lie to my face, and his family lied to my face. His mom lied to my face. And they were trying to protect him. He left before the cops can get there.
He left before the cops got to him. Listen.
When they got into the car crash, the detective said he jumped out and ran left on me.
The detective said he jumped out. Listen.
He was sitting there. And if he just thought to bring her to the hospital. Maybe she would have made it, but she didn't because he decided to be a coward, and now she's gone. And now all I have is my 2 brothers. She was the sweetest. She would never even hurt a fly. She was citizen too. 25. And my mom's gone. Now she's gone. It's because of one man that I trusted. Because my mom kept on telling me he's a good guy. I kept on saying, okay. Alright, I told her I had my suspicions and I should have went with my gut. I knew something wasn't right. And I still believed her, and that's why they're gone today.
Trusted Mustafa. Mom always told me to trust Mustafa. And the kid is sitting there, the 14-year-old child, Jaden, is sitting there beating himself up for trusting Mustafa. When the detective told me he jumped out, and if it wasn't for Mustafa running away, they could have saved my baby sister. When the police know Mustafa was helicoptered to the hospital. This is the body cams where Mustafa is being helicoptered to the hospital. This is, let's see, body cam. There we go. This is a body cam where Mustafa is being helicoptered to the hospital. This is the body cam. Helicopter is landing. They medevac Mustafa to the hospital. This is a body cam where
got her leaning forward. The ground, got all her clothes off, all over her body. So I started wiping some of the
the off-duty paramedic.
on her side, kept her.
The off-duty paramedic says that Mustafa was in a concussion. He thinks that it's 2022, and Obama is the president. The medical documents show that Mustafa lost consciousness for 30 minutes. So he's in and out of consciousness. He wakes up from a coma. He's having a concussion. They helicopter him to the hospital.
Breathing, and then we waited for the paramedics to come to release. We helped them load her onto the stretcher, got her on the ambulance, came back, and started assessing the gentleman.
And did he say anything?
He didn't say anything. Didn't know what was happening. Thought Obama was still the president. Thought it was 2022. So he's a little incoherent.
You work for us?
I do not.
Okay. Who do you work for?
Marine Corps Embassy Security Group.
Okay.
So I'm a Navy corpsman down there.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
He's an off-duty paramedic.
I think.
Mustafa thinks it's 2022, and Obama is the president. These are the investigators on the scene, and they're talk about that Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. That all these skid marks are his. That Mustafa cleared all the vehicle, made it all the way to the other side, and the SUV turned into Mustafa. Now the SUV hit Mustafa at full force. She's on medication. She's a PLS patient. Does not have proper motor function in her lower, upper extremities. The computer inside her vehicle shows that she was speeding, and she never hit the brake, and she turned into Mustafa. That's what the investigators, you'll hear the investigator talk about. They turned into Mustafa. Now, these are the same investigators that went up to 14-year-old Javen and are painting a picture that Mustafa is a monster, left your 5-year-old baby sister, and ran away. But we have their body cam on scene saying this is a vehicle accident, and that Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident.
So driver is not buckled. Neither is mom's right shotgun.
Awesome, but at least the kid was.
Kid was buckled.
Now, you hear Chad Mason, investigator Chad Mason, say that 5-year-old Empress is buckled. What are they doing on the news telling people that 5-year-old Empress was not buckled? At the time, they lied. They put it out that the child was not buckled, insinuating that Mustafa crashed it on purpose, that the investigators say crashed it on purpose, and specifically did not buckle the baby because he wanted harm done to this baby. He wanted to not have the baby buckled and crack. The investigator is saying the baby is buckled. The dash camera inside the vehicle shows that Mustafa was telling Dorothy. Dorothy gets in the car. She didn't have the baby buckled. Mustafa reminds Dorothy, and Dorothy comes out and she buckled the baby. But what do? They seal off those body cams. They seal off the dash camera. And they put out a narrative, a fake narrative on the news that Mustafa is a monster.
I'm guessing she was half ejected because that whole side's free bar. She was buckled.
But on their own body cam, they say this is a vehicle accident.
Looks like I'll be coming in tomorrow.
That Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. Listen.
That comes all the way back to about right here. I think they hit. He was in that yaw. He just continued to spun her around, almost in place. Because your marks end right around in here. So figure that away. So I mean, those are definitely theirs. AOI somewhere. It doesn't come off till here.
So you think that's the free tire?
I think so, because it comes here and rotates.
What's causing the infinity mark right here by the spinning line?
Well, this is spinning, but it only spun once. Because that's all the drag marks from the front right. That's all fucked up right there.
It's greasy. Did you have skid from him?
Yeah, so that's all him. He spun twice.
Did you have any kids from him? That's all his. But what does he do when he gets on the stand? He lies to the judge during the last hearing. He says Mustafa had no skid marks, did not do anything to avoid a vehicle accident. You just heard him. If you look up Mustafa Al-Jazari case, you'll see the news is saying that the investigators say there are no skid marks. What is he saying? That's all his? And then you'll hear him say that he cleared the vehicle and the SUV turned into him. That Mustafa cleared all the vehicles. The computer inside the vehicle showed that Mustafa was hitting the brake the whole entire time. The police mechanic showed that there was mechanical failure. The dash camera shows that Empress, 5-year-old Empress, seat shifts forward twice. That Mustafa's body shifts forward, hitting the brake. Every piece of evidence showed this is a vehicle accident. But they falsified the material, lied to the kids, and seal off these body cams. And now they're terrified that we get to have a conversation. Listen. He's going to say...
Because the damage is on the right, which is causing the flip that way. So
he's going to say she cleared the vehicle.
And then it finally broke off with Zoot.
So that's her.
They're coming in sideways.
Yep.
Gets popped, rotates.
And she just rolls backwards.
So here's the question. Which way did they... Because she comes straight, she hits.
She would have turned into it.
Did you hear that? The only way for this vehicle accident to happen is that he cleared the vehicle all the way and she turned into him. Now, that's not what they're telling the news. That's not what they're saying in court. This body cam is not on the record. You have a falsified police report. Every police body cam has a police report. This body cam is falsified. The written police report to this body cam is falsified. In court, they hide this body cam. What they say on the scene is completely different to what they're saying in court. It's completely different to what they're telling the kids. I mean, this is a body cam that Mustafa is in the hospital. This is Mustafa.
Your girlfriend and her daughter? Yes, sir. Okay, do y'all live together? Yes, sir. How long y'all been together?
This is Mustafa. He's in the hospital all through. And then at the end gets released by the hospital.
Can you spell that for me?
They do a toxicology on Mustafa. Mustafa's blood, no alcohol, no drugs. Dorothy, no alcohol, no drugs. When they ran Mustafa's toxicology, they released Mustafa. Now, the police released Mustafa. This investigator, this police officer released. So what are they doing? Going to the kids and telling them that Mustafa ran away, left your 5-year-old baby sister in the car, and if he hadn't ran away, she would have still been alive today.
Okay, so we're all done with him.
That's
so
a flat out lie. Okay? They lie to the kids.
Real quick, I need to get some information. What's your name, ma'am? Can you spell that for me? S-U-A-D. S-U-A-D-A-D?
No, S-U-A-D. This is first name, last name, H-A.
D-A-D. What's your address?
181.
181.
Anvil Road.
Anvil
Road. Stafford, Virginia. 22556.
And what's the phone number for you, ma'am?
540-353.
Now, we're going to go back and continue listening to the original, to the phone call that we were listening to. We have an advocate who entered this case about a year ago, telling us that she heard about Mustafa's case. And she's an advocate. And she wants to be here because she's not okay with Mustafa's falsified police report. Now, in light of the body cams that are coming out, we found out that this lady, who claims to be, who on TikTok is Christine Warda. You can easily find her. If you type Christine Warda on TikTok, Christine Warda 7, you'll find her on TikTok, trolling the conversation. But a year ago, she entered our life. She said, "My name is Christine Alcazai. I'm an advocate. I want to be there for you, brother." Why is it that today we find her on a police body cam claiming to be Amy Hodgkins, and she's painting and lying about Mustafa? We're going to continue to listen to this phone call, and we're going to take a deep dive into that body cam. And we're going to have a conversation.
Yeah, because calibers, there's no warning of date for sharing that. And that's one of the things that kind of came to my mind, too. As I was listening to the I don't know if you got a chance to listen to the podcast last night that Rudy Stephen had with Amar, but I kind of thought about that as I was surveying the area today, and I thought to myself, the way that area is constructed, because I live just 5 minutes away from it.
Wow.
So,
okay.
I'm surveying, and I practiced a U-turn myself, and I thought to myself, I said, okay, wait a minute, something here doesn't sound right. And from the police report, what I've read so far, and I haven't finished the discovery yet. I watched all the videos and stuff. Amara sent me, and I thought to myself, wait, something here doesn't sound, because the way it's set up is when he made that U-turn, and it's the calibers. There's no signal that lets you know that they've gone out.
Right.
So. I suspected that it's something more than what has been reported and what's been hidden by the police reports. And so I think if we discover that, and get, and follow it. I think that's going to cover a lot of what's been going on.
I think you're going to have to dig down some rabbit holes, but I think for the most part, what's right in front of you, you're going to be able to find a lot. There's more to this story that people do not know. Like, the public has no clue that there's a dash cam video. They've never been told that.
At that point, the Commonwealth Attorney and the police department refused to acknowledge that in the vehicle there was a dash camera. When the vehicle accident happened, they have the vehicle. They're in possession of the police department is in possession of the vehicle, and they're in possession of the dash camera, and they're not telling the community there's a dash camera. They're putting it on NBC4 as if there is no dash camera. At one point, we had a defense attorney, and the Commonwealth Attorney released the dash camera to him, and she told him, do not release it to the family. Do not release this dash camera out to the community. So what I did, I went on Amazon, and I bought a pinhole camera, and I scheduled an appointment with this defense attorney, Casey Stevens, so I can watch the dash camera. But what I've actually done is I've recorded the whole entire thing on my pinhole camera. And I went on the internet and I publicized it. And I put the Commonwealth Attorney in a position that she had to come out and admit there's a dash camera. But of course, they didn't release at that point. That's when they start admitting there's a dash camera. But to this day, they have not released a dash camera. They released a 5-second. They cut the dash camera. They released a deformed version, a 5-second version of a dash camera where they chopped it up, pieced it. It's a deformed. It's 5 seconds that doesn't show you anything. But to this day, they refuse to release a dash camera. The only reason I have this dash camera is because a police officer that's not okay with everything that they're doing behind closed doors put files on a flash drive for my brother's case, for other individuals in the county, supplied it to me, and now I'm releasing it on the internet. A Prince William County police officer supplied me with files. My brother's discovery, my brother's dash cameras, other files in the county. I've been protesting in front of the jail for a whole entire year. It's only natural to have for this to happen. I mean, there is a lot of police misconduct, and there's a lot of good police officers that are not okay with police misconduct that happen behind closed doors. There's a lot of police officers that swear an oath, serve this community. They're from this community. And when I go out and talk about my brother, and when I go out and talk about other individuals in the county, it's only a matter of time that there are individuals in the system to come out and say, we're not okay with it. I mean, this is a testament to what I'm talking about. There's a lot of police officers that put their life on the line and serve this community. There's a lot of correctional officers that do the same. There's a lot of sheriffs that do the same. There are bad apples in our community, in our police department. And when we come here on this podcast and address the Mustafa Al-Jazari case or the other cases that we talk about in our county, we're not talking about we're not talking about the police department as a whole. We're attempting to shed light on specific police officers that are involved in police misconduct. And we're asking for accountability. We're asking the chief of police, Peter Newsham, to come out and fix it. Hold those officers accountable. We're not saying every police officer is a bad police officer. We're saying those few police officers are taken away from every police officer on the force. And it makes our community, it's no longer a safe community. The next time you call 911, is that the kind of police officer that you want that's going to falsify your police report based on God knows what? This is not the community that we choose to live in. When we come here, we ask for accountability. Unfortunately, in our county, we have a chief of police that there is no accountability under him. Chief of Police Peter Newsham comes from D.C., and he has a track record of corruption that unfortunately we have him here in Prince William County. And we're demanding this to be fixed. We have the Department of Justice. We have the FBI. When the local government fails you, you ask for the federal government to step in. And we're demanding that the federal government does their job in investigating this county. Now that we have all the body cam, we're no longer asking for the FBI to tell us if something is wrong. Can you go in and investigate and see if something went wrong? If they falsified this or that? No, we're no longer asking them if something... No, we have the proof that we're supplying them with that there is police misconduct. That the police reports are falsified. The witnesses that are being used is all hearsay. And this is a vehicle accident. We have the proof. Let's continue listening to the phone call.
That's been hidden. The second thing is that I heard a lawyer say directly when he looked at the dash cam video, he said, I'd have a field day with this because there's no audio. And
there's no audio.
There's no audio before the impact.
Now, today we have the discovery, and in the discovery, we have a document that says Officer Zymus with Digital Forensic in Prince William County here in Virginia. She says that this dash camera does in fact have audio, and the audio is on the SD cards. Where's the audio? It's been 2 years, and the audio is not on the records. The prosecutor is terrified that this information is coming out.
You know, and from what I see, he said in the video, there's no argument going on. They're very nonchalant.
The dash camera shows there is no argument. We have an audio recording of the conversation between Mustafa and the investigator. This investigator flat out falsified Mustafa's statements on the police report. He said Mustafa told him, I was arguing with my girlfriend and I was angry at my girlfriend inside the vehicle. That's a lie. The police department sent us a letter after we supplied them with that recording that this investigator flat out lied. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to take a break from this phone call. We're going to continue listening to this phone call, but we're going to pause this phone call and take a deep dive into a very disturbing body cam where we find the same individual on this phone call on a police body cam with the investigator that falsified the police report. And on the same body cam, the wife of the investigator, who does not work for the police department, on three-way with the investigator. I mean, is that not misconduct to have your wife on the phone and you're telling her that details into this case while you have a witness, a so-called witness? I mean, where does the police misconduct stop? And today we find the wife of the investigator on the internet with this lady who's on this phone call, who's on the police body cam, trolling the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. And she's under Kate0707. You'll find her if you go to Christine Warda 7 on TikTok. You'll see her there every day, every other day. And she's using Prince William County resources, the police department, resources out of that police department. If you say Mustafa is innocent, they're going to find out your details. You're going to wake up in the morning to your details all over the internet with pictures of your kids on the internet. You don't have to take my word for it. Go on TikTok. Go listen to Christine Warda. And God help you if you say, I've listened to a specific body cam or I saw a specific piece of evidence or I saw the dash camera and this is a vehicle accident. God help you if you do that. Because I promise you, you don't have to take my word for it. Go and try. You're going to find your kids all over the internet by the time you wake up in the morning. We have multiple people that are here fighting for Mustafa, and their kids are all over the internet. And when you call Prince William County Police Department, they tell you there's nothing we're going to do about it. Why? Because the wife of the investigator is literally on the internet with the so-called witness trolling the conversation. Now, let's take a deep dive into the body cam and tell me, how is it that the so-called advocate a year ago that talked so highly of Mustafa is on a body cam trashing Mustafa, painting him as a monster? And then she tells the investigator, I was never there. I don't know Mustafa. I don't know Dorothy. But I know Kylie, the 16-year-old Kylie, who solicited to kill Mustafa. She said, I know my information from Kylie. Are we talking about the same Kylie that her dad works for, Billy, who had a problem with Mustafa? This guy? I mean, at what point does the bullshit stop?
God damn it, I'm telling you, you're gonna fucking go.
At what point is this police department gonna wake up to the reality that this community is watching? I mean, they're comfortable that everything is sealed. It's no longer sealed. It's all over the internet. I mean, this is what Kylie, on a recorded line, the ex-boyfriend is telling a private investigator that Kylie, the star witness that wasn't there, didn't see anything, but it's painting Mustafa as a monster, is soliciting to kill Mustafa and make it look like an accident. Let's listen to this.
Especially the older daughter. And she wanted me to shoot, like, kill him.
The older daughter wanted you to kill him?
Yeah. Like, man, like, could you please, like, if I make it look like, so, like, you know what I'm saying, like something, and it's like self-defense, would you do it? And I'm like, no.
She's soliciting to kill Mustafa. Her dad works for this guy.
Keep it up, and God.
Mind you, after this situation went viral, Mustafa met her mom a month into this guy going viral. A month into this guy almost running out of business. The community start boycotting his establishment. And if you know anything about fucking with a strip club owner, it's like fucking with the mob. It's like you're going up against the mob. I mean, do your research into who Billy Bane is. Do your research. Our Crystal City strip club. Do your research. Who is Billy Bane in Arlington, Virginia, the owner of Crystal City? You're going to be terrified at the information that you'll find. I mean, this guy owns half the block. The strip club is passed down to him from generation over. And Mustafa, because of this video, the guy goes viral. Now, what is Mustafa doing? He's trying to make a fucking living. He's on public property. This guy is being racist to Mustafa. The community start boycotting this guy because he's racist. He's being racist to Mustafa. You're telling me that Kylie, a month into this situation, Mustafa meets Dorothy, and Kylie, her dad works for this guy, and she's hanging around those strippers, and now is blaming Mustafa for being for her mom abandoning her? We're going to listen to the body cam really quick. This is who you heard on the phone call is on the police body cam.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Hi.
Dale?
Is this Amy Hodgson?
No, this is Dale.
Okay, well, I got a phone call in reference to a Miss Hodgson. She called in.
Oh,
and use this number for us to call her back?
Oh, okay, no problem. Yeah, let me get her for you.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I'm going to forward this email I got to you right now.
He's gonna forward the email that he got from the witness to his
My
wife,
name is
who doesn't
Investigator
work
Drum.
for
I
the
work
police
for
department.
Princeton County Crash Unit. I got a very interesting email from you, or at least a email from communications about information you had in reference to the crash that occurred the other night.
Yes.
So, can you tell me what you know?
I can. Can you give me 1 second and let me, can you give me 1 second?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. 1 second.
His wife is on the phone on
You got your
three-way.
email open?
No, I stepped out of class. Take your call.
She knows about the accident. She said it was planned by the husband.
How does she know that?
I'm going to ask those questions.
She knows
Oh my gosh.
about the accident. She says it's unintentional. And then when he asked, when an investigator, he said, I'm going to ask. When he asked her, she tells him, I didn't see anything. I don't know anything. I wasn't there. I don't know Mustafa. I don't know Dorothy. Okay? And then she begins to describe Mustafa as a horrible, as an abusive person, but she never saw anything. Where did you get this information from? Kylie. Kylie told me. Kylie? You're talking about Kylie, the 16-year-old who doesn't live at the apartment, who didn't see anything? Who her dad, who lives with her dad, her dad works for Billy? What the fuck are we talking about? This investigator has an obligation to filter out hearsay from an actual witness. He has an obligation. But because Mustafa has a lawsuit against the police department, they're no longer interested. They're using these individuals to manufacture probable cause and build a whole entire case on probable cause. It's a vehicle accident. Every piece of evidence showed this is a vehicle accident. But the police department is not interested. They seal off all the body cam, and they think the community will never find out.
Accident. She said it was planned by the husband.
How does she know that?
I'm going to ask those questions.
Oh my gosh.
Mind you, this is 2 days after the vehicle accident. So the accident happened on April 5th. This is April 7th. She's already given this investigator the narrative that he's going to run with without verifying anything. I mean, literally, she's telling him, I wasn't there, I didn't see anything, and this investigator just runs with this narrative?
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. So tell me how you know, tell me how you know Miss Dorothy.
Okay, I don't know her. I know one of her daughters.
She doesn't know Dorothy. And she's going to go on later in the body cam. She say, I don't know Mustafa. She knows the daughter, Kylie. So you can tell this is a new relationship that she has with the daughter. I mean, how could you not know the mother? How could you not know Mustafa? Unless this is a new relationship. Let's listen.
You know one of her daughters?
Her older daughter, Kylie.
Okay.
The little girl that came to the hospital yesterday.
Okay.
I don't know, were you there at the hospital?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So, my granddaughter goes to school with Kylie.
Okay.
The older sibling. I have known about her mother and a little bit about her stepfather for a while now. Kylie was removed from the home. Apparently.
So before Mustafa met Dorothy, Kylie has already problems with her mom. She's separated by CPS. And she's talking about the stepfather Kylie, 16-year-old Kylie, separated.
There's been a lot of abuse, neglect, malnourishment, all that with the other children in the house.
Okay.
Actually, Kylie's mother was supposed to have no contact with Kylie through CPS or D.
That's why Kylie doesn't live at the apartment. She lives with her dad. CPS separated them. Okay.
I don't know what they call it now, but however, she was still having contact with Kylie. So this is how I'm coming to know of a little bit of this situation. So I'm just trying to give you a little bit of the background of how I know.
Okay.
So Kylie knows a lot about what's going on with her mother and the boyfriend. Apparently the boyfriend is like psycho-abusive.
Okay.
And from what I understood was that he was basically forcing the mother to abuse the other children in the house.
He's psycho-abusive. She's talking about Mustafa. How is he psycho-abusive? He forces the mother to abuse the kids? Unfortunately for this lady and the police department that wants to run with this narrative, there is a Google Nest inside the apartment that takes you on a deep dive into what kind of relationship Mustafa has with Dorothy, his girlfriend, and the kids. The kids love Mustafa. Dorothy loves Mustafa. And to sit here and say that Mustafa is abusing the kids through Dorothy, forcing Dorothy to abuse. Dorothy has a very strong personality. When you watch the Google Nest, you'll see who wears the pants in a relationship. Dorothy has a very strong personality, and she wears the pants in a relationship. So what is she talking about? That Mustafa forces Dorothy. I mean, listen to this bullshit. Just listen to her.
Okay, and why? How do we know that?
The daughter.
Okay.
Here we go again. So she hasn't seen it firsthand. She doesn't have any evidence. How do you know that? Oh, through Kylie. The same Kylie that her dad works for, Billy. The same Kylie. Okay.
Is saying that, and also the neighbor.
Okay.
She's talking about the neighbor, Nene Kim Coleman, who her child is over at Mustafa and Dorothy's apartment all the time. So that's another hearsay.
The day of the accident, he left the other children in the home alone and refused to take them with him.
Okay.
And he supposedly told the mother, "Come on, let's go," and then the little girl.
Okay.
And none of those are his biological children.
Okay.
Now that's interesting, because we have Google Nest inside the apartment that show that Mustafa woke up late. He didn't want to go anywhere. And it's Dorothy that's telling Mustafa to take her to the cemetery. It's Dorothy that wanted 5-year-old Empress to go with her. It's Dorothy that was asking the boys, and the boys said, "I want to stay home." Now, the prosecutor is taking what Amy Hodgkins is saying and is running with it. And now Mustafa is being charged with 2 counts of murder, specifically premeditated, specifically that it was Mustafa's idea to go there on that day because he's angry at Dorothy and 5-year-old Empress, put them in the vehicle and wanted to go on that day to crash the vehicle on purpose. The problem is we have Google Nest videos inside the apartment that show that it's Dorothy is the one that's asking Mustafa to go to the cemetery. It's her mom's anniversary, and she wanted Mustafa to take her. It's Dorothy that wanted 5-year-old Empress to go with her. It's Dorothy that's asking the Google Nest video contradict the narrative that Amy Hodgkins is putting on a table, the narrative that this is premeditated by the prosecutor. Let's watch the Google Nest from the apartment that literally Dorothy is asking Empress and it's her idea. And the question is that keeps popping up. Prosecutor Sarah Sammy, you're charging Mustafa with double counts of murder. How could this be premeditated? When you're saying that this is premeditated because Mustafa is the one that asked Dorothy, forced Empress, forced Dorothy, put them in a vehicle on that day only to go crash the vehicle. When on Google Nest, it's literally Dorothy's idea. It's Dorothy that's asking Empress to go with her on that day. It's Dorothy that's asking the boys, and the boys decide to stay home. And Mustafa is waking. He woke up late. He didn't want to go anywhere, and he's doing Dorothy a favor when she asked him, "Take me to the cemetery." How could this be premeditated if literally Dorothy is asking to go? It contradicts the prosecutor's narrative that this is premeditated. One of the forensic interviews, Pharaoh says the same exact thing that we watch on a Google Nest. He said it's mom that wanted to go. Mustafa didn't want to go anywhere. He woke up late. So how could this be premeditated?
Because you're going with me to see Grandma for her birthday.
This is Dorothy. She just asked Empress, "You're going with me to go see Grandma."
That's what I'm going to give her the pink flowers out there that light up.
And this is April 5th, the day of the accident, at 12:29. This is 5-year-old Empress. Christina, hello.
Mike, what the?
Hey, Christina, I am on a podcast. We are live. You are live on a podcast.
Listen, I locked myself out of my car, man, and these
You
people
know,
are going to charge me a lot.
Christina.
Do you think you can come help me after your podcast? After, I'm not saying now. After.
Of course I'm going to take care of it. Are you kidding me? There's never a dull... Christina, I'll tell you, there's never a dull moment with my brother's ex-girlfriend. Christina, you're on speaker. I'm on a podcast. I've got beautiful Shelly. I've got Casey. And it's never a dull... I'll tell you, I love this girl. There's... I'm going to pause this.
Do you love me a lot? Like, for real, do you? Like,
Christina, of course. I'll tell you, when I got back from Iraq, I hung out with you and Mustafa for if you remember.
What the hell you were going through? You know what?
I'll tell you.
Nobody told me what you were going through, what Mustafa was going. Nobody told me shit.
I tell you.
I fucking didn't know shit.
I tell you, the reason I hung out with you and Mustafa because I learned how to relive through watching Mustafa and you take care of the homeless people that you guys fucking took care of every time you guys make money. And
I can't wait to make money with Mustafa. I swear to God, I can't wait to fucking work and like build an empire. I swear to God. But this time we're gonna be like nice. You know what I mean?
Mustafa
save money and stuff.
Mustafa is coming home.
I can't
Mustafa is evidences all over the internet. And this police department is in hot waters. And they have to answer for what they've done to Mustafa for the past 2 years.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait.
I'll tell you, between you and Mustafa, you guys are beautiful. I learned how to come back to being normal, if that makes any kind of sense. And I know I was annoying. Look, I know I was annoying for a long time. I mean, to be there like a third wheel every time Mustafa hangs out with you, it must be fucking annoying. But I tell you,
I swear,
yes, ma'am.
God, had you guys been more transparent with me, things would have been things we all would have been.
You know,
like,
I'll tell
good,
you.
You know, but everybody was suffering in silence. Everybody had their own things like in silence, and nobody was talking. Anyway,
We never opened up. We never opened up on what
Yeah.
Mustafa and what the family was going through. Mustafa had a giant lawsuit with the police department, and now that we ask the Mustafa's lawyer at the time, who was representing Mustafa against the police, and we tell him Mustafa's police report have been falsified. Mustafa was beaten up inside the jail. This is what the lawyer says about the whole entire situation in a nutshell. Christina, let me play this audio for you. You know, it's one thing when I say what they're doing to my brother. So during Mustafa's lawsuit against the police before the vehicle accident, Mustafa had a lawyer, Thomas Plovchen. He was going against Rachel Adams. Now the lawyer.
The guy that was like, you're going against like a gang that cannot be like fought with. Is that the one?
That guy. I'm gonna, it's one thing when I tell this community, the reason they're falsifying my brother police report, the reason they beat Mustafa inside the jail is because Mustafa had a lawsuit against the police. They're taking advantage of this vehicle accident. Let me play the phone call conversation with that lawyer. It's one thing when I say it. It's another thing when the community hears it from a lawyer that was representing Mustafa.
The investigator that wrote the report, he lied on the report. We recorded that conversation.
I'm sure he did.
Yes, sir.
Frankly, I'm sure they all know that you sued the Stafford cops. And they beat your brother up because they know that you sued the Stafford cops.
Yes, sir. The investigator that wrote the report.
They falsify, they beat. Because you're going up against the police.
Yeah.
And
especially that is the same people that have been with him during the lawsuit that are still working in there, and they know him.
I mean, I'll tell you what's really interesting is they sealed off all the documents. They sealed off all the body cams. I mean, we've been saying this stuff for over 2 years. I mean, that's what we've been saying. Every time you see me in front of the jail parking lot protesting for Mustafa, you hear me talk about his falsified police report. You hear me talk about, Christina, when we were in front of the jail, you slept in that parking lot for almost over a month. Just slept in a parking lot with us while we had tents in the parking lot.
Yeah, because
claiming
because I knew it was very wrong what was happening. I knew that.
Christina, they're saying that Mustafa is abusive. That Mustafa is abusive to Dorothy. Mustafa was abusive to you. Well, here is the question. Mustafa's ex-girlfriend is right here. And how could Mustafa does not have...
Mustafa is a man. He takes care of his family. He takes care of his loved ones. He is a man. That's what he is. He is one that protects. He's one that wants to guide you so you don't fall into a big hole or start doing stupid stuff. Like he protects your integrity, your what's that word? Like
I'll tell you, Christina, it says
your respect for yourself.
They want to falsify police reports. They want to use individuals that were not there. Now they want to lie about Mustafa's relationship. They don't want to look at the Google Nest that shows Mustafa has a beautiful relationship with the kids.
They don't.
Okay? They're terrified. They're terrified to look at the Google Nest. They're terrified to talk to his ex-girlfriend. They're terrified to talk to his family. They're using individuals that were not there And they're terrified that now we have the body cams, the dash camera, that it shows that this police department has a targeted effort, is targeting, is doing a targeted effort to falsify. I mean, every police report is falsified. Every police report.
It's clear as day that Mustafa is targeted. It's clear as day. You know, they wouldn't have all these people like sending you messages, you know, like trying to scare you, intimidate you. They wouldn't be trying to like stop you on the road. You know, and I've had instances like this. You know, it is definitely this group of people that are targeting Mustafa.
And you know, every time, you know, Christina, every time we go on the internet, we find the witness, Amy Hodgkins, who says, "My name is Christine Alcazay." I have her picture pulled up on the screen. This is.
Couldn't she pick another fucking name? God damn.
You know, every time, I swear to God, every time I hear the name Christina, I start hating Christinas. I have Christine Bustos. I don't call her by her first name anymore. I call her Bustos. I'm like, Christine, we're gonna call you Bustos, okay? Now. You have they're terrified because now the diddlers have been identified. You have.
Oh my God, I crack up when
Every time Mustafa says that, it's beautiful the way he says it.
He says the diddlers, oh my God, have been identified. This
you know,
is funny, man.
I'll tell you, the body cams. This lady that sits on TikTok under Christine Warda and says, "My name is Christine Alcazay." No, it's not. You're on a body cam. You're claimed to be a witness, lying about Mustafa, and now you're terrified because the Google Nest, the dash camera, your body cam shows that you lied.
Mustafa. She supported Mustafa.
We just played.
She knew he was innocent, but then because she couldn't have any control over the process, then she turned the other way, and now she's paid by the police department or the crooked ones.
You know,
the crooked ones.
I'll tell you, she shows up as an advocate, pretends to be advocating for Mustafa when she can't control the situation and gaslight the situation. All of a sudden, you see her on the internet. I mean, 1 minute you're an advocate, 1 minute you're a witness. I mean, do you think this community is stupid? This community is not stupid. You know, right here next to her fat face, I have the Google Nest is playing on the internet. This community is watching, and I tell this community, go on TikTok under Christine Warda 7, listen to her, ask her for receipts, listen to her troll the Mustafa Al-Jazari case, and then come back here.
Ahmad, it's
yes, ma'am.
So clear. Everything is so clear that you know these people were hired to bother you and everybody that knows Mustafa. It's so clear.
You know,
it's so clear, but nobody wants to do anything because they just it's not in their interest. So
well,
you know what I mean?
You
Unless
know,
it's somebody more powerful.
You know, I'll tell you, we're here, and it's gotten to a point that this police department has no choice but to fix it. I mean, Christina, the body cams are on the internet. Investigators, the investigator themselves are saying this is a vehicle accident. The police reports that we have are falsified. That we have the body cams. The computer inside the vehicle showed this is a vehicle accident. The dash camera showed this is a vehicle accident.
Yes.
Every piece of evidence showed this is a vehicle accident, and all the witnesses are saying they're saying that it's all hearsay. I mean, literally, Christina, there's an audio recording of the star witness fucking a 16-year-old who's another star witness and asking to solicit to kill Mustafa. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
that's disgusting. That's crazy. And for the police, you know,
at 16 years old, I was like, I don't know, at 16 years old, I was like a 5-year-old child. This girl, I feel so terrible. She must have had such a tough life that if at 16 she can solicit to unalive somebody.
It's a sad situation.
And oh my God, like,
you know,
it's really sad.
We demand that the police department investigate and look at this material and tell us what the fuck is going on here. I mean, they can pretend to look the other way. But this is not going away. Now the FBI are involved. Now the federal government is involved. Literally, body cams and discovery material all over the internet. Literally, there's an audio where a star witness is fucking another star witness who's a 16-year-old, and they're talking about soliciting to kill Mustafa. When the vehicle...
Listen, it could have been even earlier than 16 because didn't he know her for longer?
The thing is, Mustafa only met Dorothy 3 months ago.
No, I'm not talking about Dorothy. I'm talking about the star witness.
Oh, you're talking about Glenn Ford. Has he been having a relationship with Kylie? I mean, that is, the community is the community is listening.
Yeah.
How long have you had this inappropriate sexual relationship with Kylie that Kylie feels comfortable Glenn Ford with you to come up to you and ask you, can we kill Mustafa? Can we make it look like an accident? That is disgusting. It's disgusting.
I can't believe that.
It's disgusting.
I can't believe that.
On that note, we got to take care of our beautiful, beautiful Christina, my brother's ex-girlfriend, who is never a dull moment. It's never a dull moment with Christina. In the middle of my podcast, Amar, can you do a lockout? It's beautiful. On that note, we're gonna end this podcast. We gotta take care of our beautiful Christina. This is yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
much.
I love you, ma'am.
That is so amazing.
Yes, ma'am.
I can wait. I can wait because nobody's open right now.
No, you're good. Text me your address. I'm gonna take care of it for you. On that note, this is not another boring podcast. Mustafa Al-Jazari through the police body cams. Yes, ma'am.
Can you check your Cash App? Because East sent you a donation and she wanted to make sure you got it. Can you check it? I don't know if she's still on because I'm over here. Hi, Christina.
Hi, Casey. Hey, guys. I'm so happy you guys are here. I'm so happy that Mustafa has somebody because I feel like if he didn't have you guys, nobody would have been there because it's a too big of a force to go against.
Yeah, and we're not going nowhere.
Mustafa needs to come
Casey,
out.
I don't know if East is still on. East, thank you for donating into Mustafa's legal fund. Ma'am, God bless you. And thank you for being there. You're doing a lot behind the scenes. What you're finding out about what we're dealing with for the past 2 years. Literally, what we're dealing with, we've been dealing with it for a long time. And thank you for being here. Thank you for attempting to put a stop to this madness. Thank you for being there for Mary Jo. And what they're doing to Mary Jo is not okay. And this is a community, and it takes a village to get this bullying, this abuse. It's not okay. And we demand that this stops. And on that note, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank our beautiful, beautiful Casey. I want to thank our beautiful, beautiful Shelly. I want to thank our beautiful, beautiful Christine, it's never a dull moment. I mean, to pop in the middle of a podcast. Christine, I love you, ma'am. Thank you for being here. I want to thank everybody that joined us in our podcast. This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa Al-Jazari through the police body cam. Judge Carol Weimer under the microscope. Glenn Ford under the microscope. Thank you for being here.